We're bringing this week's flight sim news with thanks to SayIntentions. iniBuilds join us. Ubaid is here for an interview. We check out the Mi-2 Hoplite, native for 2024, a brand new Saab Safari and MFI on the way, and we take a look at Strata weather. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the middle of the week, the halftime show, the midweek shuffle. Welcome to where it's positively boiling. You're very welcome in. Busy one for you tonight. Ubaid is going to be joining us in about an hour's time. We're going to be chatting all things iniBuilds, and of course the excitement levels are sideways with Synaptech with the A220 coming soon. We're told coming soon. The summertime. Summer's over tomorrow, isn't it? You will all agree to this, do you know? We're also going to be checking out the Hoplite. We had a look at this aircraft a while ago from Digital Aeronautics. Beautiful, absolutely staggering the amount of detail. They've just started the beta on their 2024 variant. We'll have a look at it, see how it's getting along, and also go through all the different features. Then there's a brand new Saab. Yes, it's a small single-engine high-wing aircraft with a T-tail configuration just being released. And then if there's time, lads, we'll have a look at Strata. We were supposed to do it last week, and then I got busy, you know. But I hope you're all keeping terribly, terribly well and enjoying the weather. No, we're sick of it. It was hot as. It was 26.5 degrees here today in Tipperary. Currently 20 now, you know, outside. But in the man cave, it's 27. Yeah, you're right, you know. So, yes, loads of things. I was busy today.
Oh, Jesus.
I've one of these, look, now the screen is turned off, but ooh and you know, I get to show all this stuff. Next week we'll have a proper delve into it. Moza, of course, making headlines with the release of, well, a ton of hardware, which I've been trying to break for the last couple of days. I'm getting there, but yeah, well, if there's time, we'll have a quick look. That's the MGX 1000. They also have some Airbus controls out. There's some unbelievable gear coming out now, does Moza. So we might have a look and see how we get on later on. But you're all very welcome in. How this works, we start off with this week's Flight Sim news. We're going to catch up with what's going on throughout flight simulation. Then Ubaid will join us for a chat, and it's a very much just kind of, we'll get to know iniBuilds. You know, I mean, we know the sheer amount of aircraft releases, the scenery releases. Gibbo actually brought up a great a topic, that's better, a great topic yesterday, and that it could be interesting to ask Ubaid the same. So do you know what I mean? It'll be very interesting, and like when you see just the sheer amount of add-ons, and even tonight iniBuilds have released its London Luton, the compatible variant, so it's now working in 2024. The lads are flat out, do you know? But anyway, into the chat we'll say hello and welcome everyone in. D White, good to see you. APU Inspector is here, welcome aboard. Creo, hello to County Mayo. Hope well, buddy. Fierce Wolf, looking fierce. Jan Wolfie, welcome aboard. Vacuum is here. The Dameranian, good evening. Eamon 1973, bring us some good news about the A220 Murph. I will. There's a website and it has pictures and everything. Right, brilliant. But right, Mrs. TPHI, she's upside down once again. Do you know, she's never been kind of our way around. She's always been upside down. Good to see you, Mrs. Spitfire RAF 100 is here in the chat. A very good evening. Hope you're well. Who else come in now? Jesus is busy. Victorious, good to see you. Super Typhon is in the house. Sumner lurking for the news with a Kona. Listen, that's how we do. That's how we do. Airlock Doc is here. Good to see you, bud. You're very welcome in. Who else come in now? Let me see. Norse Viking, happy Wednesday. Commander Balosh, good evening. Mech Manser's in the house. Billy, welcome in. Ascended Gravity, welcome aboard. Commander Balosh is checking in from Mannheim. Is it pronounced Mannheim or is it Mannheim? I think it's Mannheim. But you're very welcome aboard. Kulkin, good evening. Toto, 2495. You're very welcome in. Hello to Mrs. Toto. Hope you guys are keeping well. Idle Cutoff is here. Melting in Cambridge. Hello from Tipperary. Sunjammer, welcome aboard. CP is here. Uniform Goose. Good day, Goose. You're very welcome in. Now let's have a look. Filthy, good to see you. Rob Dag is here. Hope you're keeping well, lads. Leptorius, a very good evening. Stu Snape, he says, Murph, don't update GSX. It may just be borked with the Phoenix, though. Other than that, I hope you're well. You too. I saw your pictures. So I think the latest update with GSX, it keeps your passengers, they're on cloud 9, so they are very high up in the air. But yes, now Shuffle Shoes shuffles in. AJ John, hope you're well. Who else come in now? Look, Sleeveless is welcome aboard. Philadelphia, nice. North Coast Mike is here. Good evening. Hayden, UK. Good to see you, man. You're looking well. Cornwolf is here. Welcome in. Filthy, thank you for 190 streams in a row, man. Jesus. Elric, good evening. Hermit Something, very good afternoon to Boston. Malky Mac is here, good evening. Mac Vision, welcome aboard. Now, let me see, we're catching up. Medic24 Life is in the house, welcome in. Where is this now? We've buttons, look. Viper Strike is here, good afternoon. Rob MCR, thank you for 140 streams in a row. If you hear background noise, by the way, I've my little portable aircon machine on absolute right. It's a tad bit warm, you see, with this weather. We're not used to. Well, we're not used to it at all. Whatever about the UK. Ireland, what? No, raining sideways, please. Yes. But, you know, Adam Jacob, hello to County Mayo as well. Andy Finley is here. Cyrus T, the man of teal, has rambled aboard. Good to see you, Cyrus. Cracker's here, good evening. Now, let me see. Nick, greetings from Cambridge as well. Don Waldy is here. Joe, you're very welcome aboard. Goblin Zeus, good evening. Let me see. Google him now. Good evening. Marinus, checking in from Munich. Guten Abend. Hope all is well. Now let's have a look. Don Waldy, happy Wednesday. Strap is here. Velo, good evening. Jesus, lads, it's busy, isn't it? Zybok Doc calling from Denmark. Hello from Tipperary. You're very welcome aboard. It is actually Hab tonight. Hot as balls. It's very hot tonight. Do you know? It's savage. Muse fan is here. Bursts into the door with his elbow. He says, how he is. He says, mad jokes. He says, happy hump day, Muse. Hope all is well. End of the week for last night shift tonight. Then you have 4 days off, Eamon. Jeez, nice. What did I do today? I plugged in a new USB gadget. That's the new one from Sabrent. And then my camera keeps disconnecting, so I had to immediately unplug it. So I need to figure out a routing issue. And I have a screwdriver on my desk. That's pretty much the extent of what I did today. Oh, I cable tied it as well. Oh, you'd be very impressed. Took me all morning. I bashed my head, look. Oh, can you see it in the camera? There, look. I bashed it. Stupid thing. The dangers of trying to tidy up your cables happens all the time. But right, let me see now. Fly with Tom, good to see you. It was 29 up in Dublin. Jesus. Gibbo is here. Good to see you, man. Very happy Wednesday. 36 degrees in my man cave, says Cyrus. Ouch. 30 degrees in Carlow. Jesus. I knew it was going to be Mosa gear. Yeah, we very lucky to get it. And a lot of videos went out today, and we'll spend a bit of time, you know, messing with it. A little bit more time messing with it. But it's on the agenda for next week, you know. 32 degrees in Coventry. Yikes. Martin from Kerry Aviation. Tier 2 for 46 months. Martin, thank you very, very much indeed. Hope you're well, bud. And lads, do be sure to check out Martin's Instagram page. There's some excellent content over there. All stuff down around Kerry. We'll have to ask a bit about Kerry, Martin. The Impossible Face, good to see you. Energizer, Sure, a calm evening tonight, isn't it? It is. But it's roasting. Where is this now? Cornwolf, hello again. Good to see you. In a Boxman is here. Goblin Zoo says 39 degrees near Marseille. Jesus. Sim Guy, 39. Sim Guy, good to see us. Now, 98 Vulcan, good day from Gosford, Australia. You're very welcome in, bud. Who else come here now? Is it Maturile? No, wait, no. Matural. Hi from Amsterdam. Good evening. Hope you're well. Visualize is here. Steve C, a very good afternoon. Jalagod, welcome in. A Crotty, welcome in. One of my friends sent me a picture of the temperature reported of her sister's car in Dublin of 40 degrees. There's probably 40 in the car. Do you know? Is there a person in Antarctica, says PQ? Couldn't tell you. If there is, they're lucky. Dazati Arab, welcome aboard. D White says chase plane compatible with Sim Update 6 beta. Yeah, I saw that. Parallel 42 releasing a quick patch for any of you guys using the beta Sim Update 6. Chase plane should be working. Not sure about Flow though. But yeah, we'll see. Richie Flies, good to see you, Richie. Hope all is well. P.S. Miranda, hello there. Good to see you, bud. Now let me see. Buttons and people and everything. Oh, look, I caught up. Jezza did well. Did a flight in the sim from Cork to Edinburgh, and the top of my PC case was hot to touch. Oh, Jesus. It does that. Yeah, when it's hot. Do you know? It gets very hot. Over to the tube, we have Dave Cleary. Legend Dave. Welcome in, Dave. Who else is here? Kaiser Burrows, good to see you. Gaston is here. Kubi Montana, welcome aboard. JP Gaming is here. Dave JSB. Dave, saw the picture on Discord where he's doing like simulated ATC emergency stuff. You look exactly like I do during an emergency. You know, feet up, totally chilled and relaxed. Meanwhile, everything going on behind me is, well, a furnace and a fire. Brilliant. Black Sheep Gene is here. Saw you earlier, Gene. Good to see you, bud. Hope all is well. Practically Geek, a very good evening to you. D146, welcome from a Comanche somewhere over Sweden. You're very welcome in. Jared, good to see you. Did you get a new mic processor digging the compression? I didn't. I just unplugged things and plugged them back in. But I do have a new mixer on the way. And then I'm going to completely shag everything. It'll be grand up until that point. Yeah, right. And then it's all, you know. It's good to see you, though. Oh, look, my telly wants to turn off. Look at the day I'm having. You know, Velcro holds me remote control. I'm telling you, lads, science. You know, science. Now, let me see. Umesh, good evening. Trevor's in the house. Kieran Nile is here. Northland Air. You're very welcome in. Great hairspray stuff. Vanek is here. Chris Brown, good to see you, buddy. You're very welcome aboard. Kills My Skills, good day. I picked up Flow Pro 2 weeks ago. Absolutely loving it. Oh, nice one. Yeah, Flow is awesome. Thrust Set Simulations, good evening to you, my dude. Hope all is well. And my motherboard has gone kaput, says Elric, so I'm having to watch it on my TV. Oh, jeez. Just Roy, good evening, Roy. Hope all is well. Right, I think we're there. That'll be an LG TV. Ooh, an LG TV. Very good, Andy. Thank you for 10 in a row, buddy. Right, will we jump into it? That was a quick intro, wasn't it? What? Murphy, that was a quick intro. Right. Let me see here now. Big Hippie, good to see you. Sent you a pic on Discord of... Just as well I corrected that sentence. Sent you a pic on Discord of my home cockpit. Jesus, imagine saying that after a few pints. I will have to have a look. That is not 2 minutes, 15 seconds and no more. I'm telling you, we absolutely flew it tonight. Right. Come on over here into the parlour. Send what? Shut up, will you? Listen, it's grand. I didn't mispronounce that at all. Everything's absolutely fine, fab and groovy, right? You heard nothing. Now, great to see you. You're all very welcome in. We're on the ground here at Luton, London Luton, and this just became compatible with Flight Sim 2024. iniBuilds put out an update only today. So I said, sure, listen, we'll load in here when we'll have a chat with Ubaid in a little bit. But before that, we're going to ramble over to this week's Flight Sim news. And there's not an awful lot, but there's enough to keep us going for a few minutes. We shall start off with the burning question behind everyone's ears. The Synaptic. When is it coming out? The hype. And it's not that this is being hyped, it's just there is genuinely so much excitement in the Flight Sim community to get their hands on this aircraft. If you were lucky enough to check it out at... They had it at FS Weekend, but Flight Sim Expo, you're able to sit down and just see what the thing can do. I was blown away by it. It looks and sounds and all the systems, particularly the systems, it looks absolutely great. But we did get some news about it. The A220 release is set to happen this summer. Now, they didn't say what date, of course, but, well, we know it's on a short final. For a project that has lived on... Jesus. Someone pressed a button. For a project that lived, or that has lived almost entirely on Discord servers and iniBuilds forums posts over the last few years, well, the A220 from Synaptech just took a very grown-up step. It now has its own official website. And if we click into the website, we can see things and stuff. So they have some information, once it loads in, that is, and we start scrolling down. You see, it's one of these type of things. And look, you're right, brilliant. But anyway, what we can do with this, well, they provide us with some information. The most detailed A220 simulation ever built for Microsoft Flight Sim. There is the trailer from iniBuilds. If you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's very impressive, right? Some of the, what's the word? The specs, I suppose, when it comes to the custom flight management system, Faithful ProLine Fusion avionics, modeling of systems component connections, graphical flight planning, custom fly-by-wire system, customizable electronic checklists, SimBrief, and Microsoft Flight Sim EFB uplink included. But then we get some of these pictures, and I mean, isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it absolutely gorgeous looking? I think the main draw for me, I think, with this aircraft is the avionics. There's a lot of cool stuff going on with the systems here. Do you know what I mean? It does look very, very pretty indeed. And then you get the modelling of the aircraft, just how good the thing actually looks. Like on a scale of, I don't know, 1 to 10, lads, where is this aircraft on your most important release that must happen before any other? You know, 0 being you couldn't care less, 10 being I need it yesterday. You know, let us know between 0 and 10, right? Because I gotta say, man, it's when I first heard about it, I was like, yeah, you know, it's a nice regional, it's Airbus, so, you know. And then I started learning more about it, about, you know, Bombardier had it, and then there's a history behind this. And when we learned then about from the development side, and when iniBuilds came into the fold, well, everything just started going that direction, didn't it? So yeah, it's look at that. So-called Jerry's here. Good to see you. A 4, a 9, a 0, a 2, a 4, an 8, an 11, a 9.5. 9.5. Very, very good. But it's just gorgeous, isn't it? Look at the cut, right? The absolute state of it. There's great excitement here for this aircraft. Now, again, we don't have a release date. This is purely the website now to show off, you know, work in progress. We got some nice graphics here. Got some nice, you know, what are they called? Screenshots of the aircraft in action. But it does look very, very nice. Ideal. It's. I mean, the A220 doesn't Edward fly this, I think. But when you're looking at different aircraft we have available in the sim now, this one is, you know, your kind of most modern medium haul aircraft, your regional medium haul aircraft. Can you get these into London City? I think you can. Does anyone do it now? I don't know. But can't London City take 220s, can't it? But anyway, then there's other links over to the socials and all the jazz. You can, yeah. That's mad. So that's the crack with it. It's well, we have to wait. We don't have dates. It just says, you know, what they're working on now is very much the post kind of development update. They're mainly focusing on bug fixes, and then they're aiming to release summer of 2026. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But a lot of excitement for it, and I am looking forward to this aircraft for sure. Now, over to the Contrail FA50. That got its first major update. They've actually reworked the flight model and auto throttle for takeoff. Scott's God, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed, buddy. 2 months. Cheers, man. Contrail released their Falcon at the end of June, and this is the first major patch we've seen for it. And yeah, what they've done, they've worked on the flight model itself and also the auto throttle system. And I got to say, this is a really nice airplane to fly. We've been fairly spoiled now in the last couple of months. We have the FS Reborn 300E, the Phenom. We've had the Sovereign Plus, and now we have this. And there's more on the way. There's more business jets on the way. And it's interesting to see so many people kind of, you know, gravitate to these aircraft. You know, they're right slap bam between your general aviation and your heavy airliner. These are great aircraft, and they perform just as an airliner. I mean, you're going to get, in some cases, you go higher and faster, depending on what you're after, do you know? But yeah, the flight model has been completely reworked, and the aircraft no longer needs a higher than expected N1 setting to hold cruise Mach. Contrail say the response to the revised handling from content creators, real pilots, and the community has been overwhelmingly positive, which is great to see. I mean, it's their first aircraft. You know what I mean? The autopilot section of the changelog addresses several of the more consequential issues reported at launch. VNAV now correctly captures and flies the descent profile after dialing in the altitude selector down while in altitude hold. On the system side, 2 fixes stand out: uncommanded engine shutdowns that could occur on the runway or in flight. They've now been sorted. Also, the GNS XLS initializes to the nearest airport instead of a random location. Elsewhere, the thrust reverser sound is now louder and fuller both inside and outside the aircraft, and missing cabin and baggage door sounds have also been restored. So sounds like it's quite a nice shot of updates here. I mean, version 1.02, a fairly decent changelog. So yeah, you can grab that through Contrail now. Do you know? Just wish I had a long range PJ you say. But yeah, North Coast says the sound keeps repeating, or is it just me? I'm unsure. If it is repeating, let me just double check my side. I think we're good. I hope we're good, right? But yeah, keep us honest, lads, how the audio is. I can do nothing about the visuals. This is the face I was given, right? You're supposed to say, no, Murph, you look grand. Your hair is lovely, in fact. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, thanks. That was Muse fan. Yeah, complimenting me once again on me beautiful hair, you know. But anyway, yeah, if you want the Contrail Falcon 50 update, it's grand and it's ready to rock, and you can pick it up there. Over to Majestic. We broke this news the other day, but the Q400, the Dash 8 race, is very much alive now. We know that Miltech have teased the military variant, and then SWS only last week then showed that they were working on the more the classic kind of era, the Q1, 2, 3 and 400, I think, was it, or the 1, 2 and 300. But anyway, Majestic with their Q400, which is an aircraft we've been waiting since 2020 was released to get into the sim, but they did push out some update. It posted this weekend on the Majestic forums. Opens with an acknowledgement communication has been overdue, with the silence attributed to busy schedules between work and other life priorities. It's a familiar note for anyone following the project, which does remain a part-time endeavour. According to Majestic, the bulk of the recent development time has gone into reworking the exterior model, something the team has already signalled back in February when it said the systems were essentially complete and the 3D work was the bottleneck. The new renders back that up compared to the first in-sim images back in June of last year, which visibly carried over the kind of older P3D geometry and stuff. Didn't look terribly great. Some of the new ones are looking better, and systems are very much alive as well. So we've no release date. We know they're working on it. There's a lot of excitement to see this aircraft, but I don't know. Is it going to fall short of expectations?
Hello there.
Who knows, right? Who knows? Anyone who flew the Majestic back in P3D or FSX, it was an awesome aircraft. And I remember when was a FlyJ Sim or over an X-Plane, they released their Q400, and that's excellent. Like, that's an excellent simulation of the Q400. So yeah, I don't know where Majestic will fall into this. Yeah, the 100 to the 300. It'll be the aircon. What's this now? Your hair's falling out, Murph. Yeah, thanks. But yeah, so-called Jerry saying iniBuilds showed a global 6000 in the background of a video. They did. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, this aircraft, one of the ones we're checking out tonight, a Swedish classic. Think of that as you will. Comes to Microsoft Flight Sim. MSK have released the Saab Safari MFI-17. The aircraft primarily used, an interesting history, primarily used for kind of light training. And it does a bit of kind of surveillance work as well. Militaries have them the world over, popular out in kind of Pakistan and that neck of the woods. It's a very nice looking aircraft, I have to say. This one here, we can see the picture. She's in Norwegian colours, and it's very similar to a Cessna 172. I mean, if you were to just kind of think about it there, when you look at the structure of the wing assembly, the landing gear, the nose, okay, grand, we have a T-tail up at the back. The reason why they put a T-tail on it was to stop kind of dirt and stuff and debris getting thrown up from the wheels when it came to operating on, you know, off the beaten track. That was the reason for it, right? And yeah, the door getting in, it's a dive in or slide out, right? But anyway, we're going to be checking out this aircraft tonight. It's available over on Sim Market. There's a 2020 version or a 2024 version. If you buy the 20 version, you get the 24 for free. It comes with a G1000, and yeah, it's quite a modern set of avionics for a relatively old aircraft. I mean, you're talking the 1970s, do you know? But it's available over on Sim Market for €12.99. And you might say, ooh, And you will say, because, well, later on we'll be looking at it, right? So now that's the aircraft news, right? We're flying it here, lads. How's our time? We're looking good. Flight Sim Tees. A quick mention here over the Flight Sim Tees, what Gibbo Ireland is working on, because he's added some new designs to the store. And I always say, do be sure to check out the store, because you don't know what designs comes in. So he started this new aircraft series, right? It's a number of different t-shirts that have a number of different types of aircraft on it. Obviously, you like a Spitfire, you look at the Spitfire. You like a 777, you go with the 777. They're kind of similar-ish, but they're honed to each and every aircraft. So these new designs are now live on the website. There's one here for the Spitfire. All the information, beautiful pictures on it as well. And you can see Jemima and Pascal wearing the gear out in public. Also then, when we come back, all the other ones are here as well. Keep an eye on stuff that's leaving, because they don't always stay. Gibbo changes them up quite regularly. But if you go back one, he's also added in some of our own merch. Shameless plug, I know, but so we've seen the cap, and we ran a giveaway for that last week. Congratulations to the two guys who won. We also have the big Aegis cap. Don't forget, if you're going to Bristol, make sure you'll hear me. Make sure you grab a hold of me, because I might now, it's like Christmas. I have a list. Yeah, right. And I'd be going down through the naughty list, and they'd be told to shag off. Yeah, right. The others then would be, come into the parlour. But anyway, Gibbo has designed 2 new t-shirts for us. We have the Big Aegis t-shirt, which, all the departing soon stuff has now departed. All right. When they're gone, they're gone. Brilliant. The Big Aegis, as we can see, Noel here, complete the look of wearing a Big Aegis t-shirt. It always confuses people. And then, of course, we have our virtual airline, a Firefly Air t-shirt. And what I like this one, especially, is it has Firefly Air on the right arm, you see, on the sleeve. So again, keep an eye out for this stuff if you're interested in buying it. If you're not, that's totally cool. The reason why we show this stuff off, Gibbo Ireland, he's part of our community. He's been with us from day not, right? And he's doing this in his own time. And the reason being is, well, the quality is good. I don't know how many t-shirts I've told you this story, but you see stuff online, merch and whatever, you buy it and then you get it. The size is wrong. It doesn't fit you right. The print goes, it's like knackered after a couple of, you know what I mean? This gear is just much better. And the changes Gibbo made starting in July on the logistics side, it's now cheaper. You'll get your gear faster and cheaper if you're in the market to buy any of this sort of stuff. So do be sure to check out flightsimtees.com. If you have any questions, if you see a design you like, maybe you have your own design. Maybe you see something you're like, I wonder, can we change that? Just reach out to Gibbo. Drop an email and say, Gibbo, what do you think? Can this be done? He'll tell you straight away if it can or if it can't be done. So do be sure to check it out. And as we say, there was stuff here. There was stuff on this morning saying departing soon. It's already gone. So if you see something, if you're interested in it, and maybe you're not in a position to grab it straight away, maybe drop Gibbo an email to say, Gibbo, I'm looking to get this. Any chance you wait a month or whatever. You know what I mean? Ewald, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you. But yeah, you're going to have a big naughty list, aren't you? Oh, begob, then I am. So massive shout out to flightsimtees.com. T-shirts, hoodies, zuddies, caps, and novelty edible underwear is coming next year, for anyone who was asking. I'm only joking. Muse fan, he was asking. Right, is that gripper in the hood? No, it's not. We managed to get improved shipping rates for all countries, including Ireland, the UK, mainland Europe, Australia, if you live down that neck of the woods, and the United States and Canada as well. Worldwide, global stuff. Gibbo has been flat out doing that. He's fair play to him. He's been working hard. The whole idea is to get the cost of getting this stuff to you down. That's all it is. It's just get the cost down. Do you know what I mean? So it's very much appreciated, Gibbo, and great stuff, man. Great stuff. So do be sure to check it out. It's flightsimtees.com.
Can I get a refund?
No, you can't get a refund. Check off. Now, Salvoz have released Dortmund International Airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Dortmund Airport, a new third-party rendition, comes to Flight Sim 2024. Salvoz releasing a native version of Echo Delta Lima Whiskey, a full rebuild of the earlier 2020 rendition. And it arrives just about a year after Aerosoft. For an airport of this size, having two competing payware renditions on the market is a luxury few regional German fields enjoy. According to Salvoz, the airport has been recreated as a fully handcrafted environment built from extensive real-world references and up-to-date airport information. The developer says attention was given to every area of the field, from the terminal building and control tower to the apron infrastructure, landside areas, lighting, and custom ground textures. The feature list covers the essentials you would expect from a modern payware airport: highly detailed terminal with modelled interiors, custom jetways, and an up-to-date airport layout. Also has the optimized LODs for performance. GSX profile is included, and you can pick it up over on Sim Market for €18.99. $18.99. Chef, in about 20 minutes, bud. About 20 minutes. Do you know? So, yeah, great stuff there for anyone who likes to fly in and out of Dortmund. You now have an extra option. So, good stuff there. This one for freeware, Teterboro. We saw a new release for Teterboro. It was like version 2. This is a great airport in the payware one, right? But this is a free one, right? The General Aviation Gateway is sitting 12 miles out of Midtown Manhattan. It's been a payware territory for the sim since 2021. Dreamflight Studios, the ground-up version 2 rebuild back in May, and I'm going to say that was pretty nice, right? This one, however, is a free alternative. This new project is the work of Daniel's Jam, right? Developer behind the popular freeware LaGuardia that has racked up over 12,000 downloads at a 4.79 rating over on flightsim.to. Back in early 2022, Daniel's Jam released a modest taxiway cleanup mod for the airport. It was a tidy up of the default scenery that fixed the taxi edge lights, pretty much sitting in the middle of the taxiways. Do you know the way the sim kind of does that at a default airport? Let's put the taxi lights in the middle of the... right. But anyway, he added in a couple of other kind of missing details and, fixing up the VOR and whatnot. But then he wanted to go off and recreate the entire airport. That's 4 years ago. And he's now done it, right? He's now done it. The timing makes this release particularly noteworthy. Dreamflight Studios arrived just 2 months ago, but by most accounts, it is an excellent product with 7 fully modelled FBO interiors, high level of detail. It's absolutely brilliant. Simmers who want the most complete Teterboro experience, especially those flying the growing fleet of business jets, well, you'll probably stand by the payware version. But for anyone who just wants proper custom Teterboro scenery without spending anything, right? Whether it's a quick bizjet destination or it's a VFR stop on a New York sightseeing hop, the alternative is available right now over on flightsim.to. And it looks pretty decent as well. So great stuff there for freeware. We love to see freeware. Now, Sim Update 6 beta has arrived. They're going to bring DLSS 4.5, optional walk-around skip. It'll be in your settings. You'll be able to now skip the walk around. And also new lights at generic airports, right? The lighting looked brilliant. We saw Martial give us a chat about the lighting over at Expo. But anyway, the cycle has officially begun. Build 1.8.5.0 started rolling out to the beta participants yesterday. And of course, we got news that Parallel 42 updated Chaseplane today, right? So you can actually use Chaseplane with the new Sim Update beta. Now, just remember, if you're using a beta, it's going to break. That's the point. They want you to find problems, so then they go back and rebuild it. Do you know what I mean? Light Chop, good to see you. Random question: can you speak Gaelic? Very little. When I have a couple of pints, that's how we communicate. Cunis, Colleen, Boher, Cockamilis. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Brilliant. But anyway, this one here, we can skip the walk around. DLSS 4.5, Dynamic Frame Gen, and FSR4, which would be going to be, this is good news for the folks on some of the newer hardware. ILS Approach is also getting some work. Lights at generic airports, a complete rework, and it looks very, very better. And there's also other fixes when it comes to the likes of kind of WASM issues. I didn't see multiplayer stuff specifically, but I did see stuff that has an impact on multiplayer flights. And of course, Jorg did mention that, I thought we would have got it in 5.1, but the ability to gift an add-on in the marketplace hasn't happened yet, but that should be up and running now with Sim Update 6 as well. Now, the original kind of timeline, they were hoping to get this out, I think it was kind of July, August. That might slip a little bit because they're also working on AAU5, which is going to bring that Boeing 707 that we're all terribly excited for because it's being completely rebuilt and looked after by Working Title and iniBuilds. And what we saw at Expo, it looked absolutely class indeed. Do you know what I mean? So, we'll see what the crack is there. But anyone who's using the beta, I know Roy is, and a handful of others, let us know how it's gotten on, lads, for sure. Navigraph, they've finally added the oceanic tracks, the new VFR regions, and cockpit native charts, all in the one big update. So they spoke about this again at Expo, and they Navigraph have been busy. The main things are the Epic 2 integration, working with the default Pilatus PC-12 and the PC-24. I mean, they're lovely aircraft. The only problem is they're too freaking quiet, right? But Navigraph now works natively inside those avionics units, which is pretty class. You can bring your charts up, the whole jazz. It's awesome, right? But that's not all, because we also have oceanic and also the Atlantic tracks gone in here now as well for your oceanic clearances, which is nice to see. So you'll have your North Atlantic and you'll have oceanic. They'll actually show you on your flight plan where you're going, waypoint names, all the sort of stuff. Dead handy, right? And then, of course, we have for our VFR pilots, we have Brazil, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, all in VFR charts. The biggest update we've seen, of course, was Rogers EU charts, which was absolutely incredible, as the real world, right? And now we're seeing VFR charts now for Brazil, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. It's going to be brilliant to go exploring these regions now, because on your VFR charts, well, they're aimed at visual flight rules. They tend to list out all the POIs and VFR reference points. Do you know what I mean? So you should be able to discover a lot more of the sceneries now in the sim. Do you know? Also, we get weekly Jeppesen updates to charts, plates, all this kind of stuff. It's not your usual 28-day AIRAC data, which they'll always tell you, hey, it's update day. The stuff goes on in the background with the other charts that they have. It's specific to Jeppesen charts. They give them weekly updates now. Do you know what I mean? Mr. TPHI, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Hope all is well. Wind control, the tiller finally gets affordable. It's 82.30, right? And orders have already started for this. One or two people grabbed this already. Any of you guys get the tiller? What do you think of it? I had a look at it at Expo. Well impressed by it. The spring, it's springy, right? But the range of movement and I suppose the friction, if that makes sense, I liked it. So yeah, be interesting. Who's this now? Arian Jan, good to see you. Have I talked about the 220 and A380 yet? No, we're just waiting for Ubaid to join us in a few moments. Don't worry, if you're on the ad, sure, you know, they do say the ads are tailored to your own, right? So if you see something weird, I'm just saying. But yeah, the tiller is out and Dave has it. Sweet. It's cheap and cheerful, this, lads. And when you look at the whole wind control system, there is an awful lot there now, isn't there? I mean, between, you know, what do they call it? It's not the, what do they call it? Orion, is it? Or Aurus? Aurus, isn't it? Or one of those. Between the joysticks, the throttle, you know, the FCU, the CDU, or Ursa Minor, that's the one. The radio, the squawk. There's a barrel load of stuff. I mean, you can pretty much build your own cockpit now. Plus, we're going to have the overhead coming soon. You know what I mean? So it's very exciting times for sure for Airbus. Not a lot in the way of Boeing, but very exciting indeed to see it. And the tiller is the next addition to it. 82, 83 bucks, which isn't bad at all. Now, granted, it's a tiller. You're limited to what it could do, but you know, you can set it up as a tiller for any aircraft if you wish. You can even set it up as a rudder, double input as a rudder if you wish. You know what I mean? So you can use any aircraft with that. So that was news from Wind Control. Fly to High, Westchester Airport has now been released for X-Plane 12. Anyone flying in X-Plane 12? Westchester, absolute gorgeous part of the world to go flying in. It's about 30 miles north of Manhattan near White Plains, New York. It serves Westchester County, parts of Connecticut, and the wider New York metropolitan area. The airport is served by a handful of airlines: American Eagle, Bermuda, Breeze, Cape, Delta, JetBlue, and so on. And it's also ideal for some general aviation and business traffic as well. So yeah, it's pretty decent. It's in a lovely part of the world, and it's available now over in the world of X-Plane 12. Starting to see airport interiors now starting to come in as well. Show of hands, lads. Is anyone using X-Plane 12? Stick an L1 in the chat there, will you? I'm always interested to know who's you know, most of us are all on Microsoft Flight Sim, but it'd be interesting to know who is using X-Plane 12 as well. Forsec Shark, good to see it. Jeez, we got a good few. Name the aircraft. Brilliant. I've got the Microsoft Flight Sim version of this scenery. Yeah, it's quite good. Malky, this is a great spot. Westchester's a really nice airport. Good man, Nick. First in, best dressed. Name the machine. Right? Brilliant. Look at that. They have a WWE plane in the scenery. That's mad, isn't it? That's actually a thing, isn't it? Owl, John Paul Levesque or Triple H and, you know, Vince. But anyway, Westchester, it's now available over on the xplaneorg.store for $15.99. Wasn't it Energizer JCB? Brilliant. Now, the Moza stuff, lads, we'll talk about this briefly. We're going okay for time. So Moza, they've released or lifted the NDA. They have new hardware and it's available to purchase right now, right? This one here, and I think I started with this one because from, you know, flying general aviation aircraft, we do a lot of that, right? Well, what we have here is the MGX 1000. It's based on Garmin's G1000, right? And what it is, it's a TV screen that has all the buttons and dials built around the TV screen, pretty much. And it acts just as another monitor as well. You can be watching me, you can watch Netflix, you can watch the World Cup, because it acts as another monitor. You can literally put anything in there, right? But the buttons are all wired up through the Moza software, right? And the advantage to what Moza have done here, this does not require a display port or even a HDMI port. This runs off a USB-A, the bigger, the normal, the old type USB, right? So it needs a power source, which it comes with an adapter. You normal plug it into the wall, plug it into the unit, and then you run it off a USB. Now, anyone who is very odd and sad, like myself, if you're running at capacity, Windows only technically lets you get 4 monitors, so you have to kind of do a bit of digging around to give you 5, 6, or even 7 different monitors, right? There is a way to do it, so I'll put out, we'll probably cover it next week on how to do it. I have the unit here beside me, right? Now, I don't have I do have aircraft to throw it in, but I'm mindful of my time. We're going to have a look at this gear next week. This is one of them. Just to give you an idea of the size, it's big, right? It's quite a big screen, right? Look, my head is a massive head, right? And that's it. And you can control the lighting. The buttons feel absolutely exactly as they do in the real aircraft. I've flown in a 182 that had a G1000. It's exactly as I remember it. It's very same. And even some of the buttons, especially for the range, it has a strafe left and right, which is absolutely deadly, right? But anyway, we're going to be covering that next week. Just to give it a proper kind of look, you know what I mean? A proper look. So anyway, it's available right now. And they're planning to start shipping these around early August. Right? So absolutely class, lads. A G1000. And just to put perspective on this, right? It's listed here at €469, right? And whatever it is in your own conversion. €469. Nothing else comes close to that, especially at this kind of detail. Any of the G1000s I was looking at, they're like, I think the cheapest one I saw was like €700 or €800, and then they go up from there, right? This is excellent quality. It feels very, very good in the hands. The buttons are soft but firm. It's plastic. It comes with its own frame, and the screen resolution is quite decent as well. It is class. 470 quid, meaning you could technically build your own general aviation cockpit for well under €1,000. Well under 1,000. It's mad, isn't it? In the Moza software, you can control either this to be the left screen or the right screen, meaning you can have a PFD or an MFD, or if you want to get creative, you can bypass some of the Moza stuff and use the buttons directly within the sim, because they have other ways in which you can control other devices. This is pretty cool. It doesn't, however, pull the screen from the sim directly. That's where you still need to use the pop-out manager or something like... what's it called? The glass out, right? You still need something like that. I imagine it'll run Air Manager as well. Well, it has to run Air Manager. We just need to figure out how the buttons work. But very good. $760 Canadian, says Mr. TPHI. Yeah. Great to see this from Moza. Fantastic, right? But that's not all, right? They've others. They also, I have to check out this thing as well, the FMP-18. This is, well, by looking at it, this is designed straight out of an F-18. Multiple screens, all sorts of inputs here, lighting controls, you name it, right? And this is sold as one complete unit. And this one is retailing at €889. You might say, yeah, pricey, but look at the amount of modules you're getting, right? Most of these are like £200-300 a piece. These are all individual screens, and they can all daisy chain, and it's just class, absolute class, right? So again, we'll be checking out more of this stuff next week. The other stuff they've released, which is interesting, it's the MA3F. This is the electronic flight. This is basically Moza's own ecosystem. Effectively, it's their ecosystem. We've seen this before, of course. Wind Control have theirs out. I can tell you straight, there is a difference between them, right? Moza, the quality feels just a little bit more solid, if that makes sense. I've never had an issue with the Wind Control gear, but it feels heavier. It feels more solid. It's only when you kind of check out the Moza one and you go back to the Wind Control one, you're thinking, it's a bit plasticky, all right. Right? Competition, that's where it all comes from. So you can pick that up as either the main FCU, or you can get the EFIS units beside it. You can see the prices there, 159, and then we have the EFIS then that go with them, which are separately, they're 109 each, right? But again, we'll have a look at this all next week. But it's interesting, and it's interesting to see there's now competition at this kind of price point, but Moza very much thinking along the lines of, well, how can we make it better for the user? That's what they're after. That's what they were trying to do with this entire product line. How can we make this better for the user, right? And of course, then they have MCDUs, the MA3F, €209. What's different about this, again, is going to be the buttons. There is a die-cast metal cover, so it feels metal. It's heavier, right? And even the USB connection, Wind Control, it goes straight into the back, but you can't leave it down. This one, it goes in at the top, so you can leave it down, right? And also on the website, you can see that they have the MB7F. This one, of course, aimed at Boeing. Ooh. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. All of these are available right now. Estimated dispatch is going to be in early August. Next week, we're going to have a proper look at the hardware. Right, we'll have a proper look at it. We'll bring it up in the camera. I'll mess with it. If you have any questions, that's how this works. Again, I'm not here to sell you the stuff. If you have any questions about it, if you're thinking about picking up hardware or software, doesn't matter. You just let me know. And if there's anything I can do that can help give you the information that you need, that's what I'm here for. All right. So yeah, it's great to see this from Moza, and they've loads more on the way. It's there's other stuff going on in the background. This is very exciting to see. I think the biggest one out of this, from a general aviation perspective, and that's let's not forget about the AB6 or the AB9 or even the AY210 force feedback yoke. When it comes to the this sort of crack with the MGX 1000. This is incredible. And it's gas, right? I always said steam gauge all the way. Love steam gauge, right? In the real world, I would always prefer a G1000. The reason being is all the information is on one screen. A sticking point in flight sims has always been there's too many freaking buttons to mouse and click and drag and do. XP did a video earlier on. Norm said the exact same. We are of the same opinion. The ones inside the sim were always that little bit kind of after reach press, and it was annoying. When you have the actual panel in front of you, you just want to fly then using that panel. It's mad, right? It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Are we expecting a 777? No idea. Tiny new stuff. Have you looked at the VATSIM radar? Version 2 they're working on. Yes, absolutely. I didn't drop it on my toes yet, no. Roy says, a little update on the rescue tool. Now has the option to delete the AMD cache. Nice. So just Roy, over on our Discord, he's made this tool that is basically a rescue tool. It gets rid of cache. You can back up your controls. It'll find issues with your sim. It'll find duplicate airports that the sim has versus what you have. It's huge, right? And it's for free. It's over in our Discord. Do be sure to check it out. 'Tis very good indeed, right? Very, very good. So So I'll drop a little ping over to Bade, because I know you're all dying to ask the question. What I will say, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I'll ask them when I can. We'll have a little area at the end, or a little section at the end, for any of your questions. My objective here, I just have a chat, lads. I've no agenda, right? I'm very happy to see what iniBuilds have been doing over the last number of years, and I want to get to know the lads a bit better, because you can see when they release an aircraft or they release a scenery, you're looking at it going, "Jay, that's pretty cool." There's always a story behind it. You know, why this? Why that particular scenery? Or why that aircraft? You know, did you work with the real aircraft? Do you have experience with it? Did you meet people who flew with it? This kind of crack. I'm always interested to know that. But 100%, if you have questions, let us know. And don't be an idiot. We've only one rule here. Don't be an idiot, right? But apart from that, we should be good. So let's see here now. Anyway. We do this live, you know, because there's absolutely no fear of anything going wrong. Right? Brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. So let's have a quick look over here. I'll bring up the iniBuilds website while we're waiting. And as you guys probably have seen it, and we'll be chatting to Ubaid about this now, the amount of aircraft and sceneries, not only what iniBuilds are working on, but of course their partners as well. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one to find out. You know, what's your favorite iniBuilds aircraft, right? But also, what's your biggest kind of pet hate? You know what I mean? Like, what's the most frustrating thing? Because feedback is important. I mean, developers, any developer, they're more than happy to hear feedback, provided it's constructive, it's respectful. It's amazing when people are nice. Well, people are nice. Do you know what I mean? Right, we're going to press the button. Now, lads, if that breaks, right, okay, we'll start the call, and let's see what happens. You can't see it yet, but don't worry. There's buttons, and things are pressing. Hello.
Hello.
Jesus. Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Hang on now. We just got some things set up for you. Let me see here now. Have you a camera on, Ubaid, or just voice?
No, we can get the camera.
Sweet. Let's have a look here now.
There we go.
Now, if this works, I will be forever known as a genius. If it doesn't work, I'm going to blame someone else. I'll press a button. The button's starting to work. Hang on now. Let's see here now. There is a button. Now, you don't move. I'll fix this. But first and foremost, Ubaid, a very good evening to you. Great to finally see you. And, well, how are you keeping?
Very good, thank you. Enjoying the Dubai summer, which is obviously very cool with AC everywhere, but I know Europe has been struggling with the heat wave, so I think today was a warm day in the UK. How was it in Ireland?
Well, I mean, we'll complain if it's good weather or bad weather, right? But it's quite warm for us as well. Not as bad as the UK, like we're up around 25, 26 degrees, but it makes the simulated space quite warm, yes.
No, exactly.
No,
but can't complain. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Now, you've been busy. I mean, you were over at FS Expo. You were there supporting the guys with Synaptech. And, of course, you guys had a massive presence at FS Weekend. So I suppose I want to have a little chat about the events as well. But for anyone who maybe not be aware of yourself or indeed with iniBuilds, might just have a quick look and a quick chat, if you like. Well, what is iniBuilds? What do you do? And, well, what's the story behind it?
No, that's the thing. That's a really good way to start. So, sort of 6.5 years ago, iniBuilds were a collection of individuals. Some of them was Sam, Hunter, Mike, and they came together. And the pure reason why they were doing what they were doing was to make basically flight sim better for themselves and those around them. So it was doing things like liveries. It was doing things like GSX profiles, dynamic lighting presets, small tweaks and modifications to Prepared 3D that would just enhance their day-to-day simming experience. Isaac, Joe's, there's 4 or 5 of them that were excellent guys. And I sort of came on board at the time and said, you guys have a great vision of what you're doing here. And, how can we, progress things and do other things to enhance the simming experience. And that's kind of where, if people ask how do we get our name, it's from those GSX profiles, because the suffix of a GSX profile back then was a .ini file.
Right.
So I think that's it set our trajectory for what we are known for today, which is iniBuilds or iniBuilds. So it's great to sometimes how do you pronounce the name? It's actually iniBuilds and not iniBuilds because of that GSX profile name. So I always find that quite funny and a good story to tell.
I'm always like, don't say the wrong thing, Murphy. I was like, yeah, it's iniBuilds, and then like iniBuilds, like, yeah, it's iniBuilds, right? Happens all the time. But okay, so iniBuilds, we've heard it here first, lads. So we can all relax now. So that was the history behind it. Fascinating stuff. I mean, your own passion, if you like, behind flight simming. Was there aviation on your side in your family, or was it just something you kind of gravitated towards?
Yeah, I mean, I used to love planes as a kid, right? I know youngsters nowadays, you've got all this tech, but I was reading books and magazines. There was a magazine, you got Airliner magazine. I used to, on the weekly shop, my mother used to go to Sainsbury's and I used to beg for that Airliner magazine to be bought. And I had a book. I always had, a great passion for airplanes, but I took a route. I went into consulting after I finished school. But it was always a hobby, and I used to fly X-plane recreationally, X-plane 11. And I think my experience is not, something from FS98 or, a legacy flight sim. I've always had a passion for aviation. My first sim was X-plane 11, and I thought I really wanted to make, I really had quite an excellent experience, but I was like, how can I make this better? And we found a couple of guys online, Dennis, who I found from a Twitch stream, David from Mexico, and Roger from the X-plane forums, and we came together to sort of commence our first product development, which was the A300. So I think I've always had a passion for aviation, a passion for flight simulation, and I think how we started wasn't even for monetary or commercial purposes. It was simply trying to make some excellent products for us to use day to day.
That's incredible. And tell me, like, did you ever imagine during, from having the passion about aviation and then, getting into business, literally within the industry and building up this company? I mean, the company now is quite large. I mean, how big is iniBuilds today?
No, like it's insane. You couldn't make it up. Like, it's a story to tell. Sometimes if I tell, especially like from my background, my parents were always very stringent on my education. They thought I was sitting in my room playing games for the younger part of my early 20s and late teens. It was actually we're making something really cool, and it was never for money. I think when we first put the A300 up on the store, it was like the next day we didn't even know what could happen, and it translated into further products, and we expanded. And now we started from 5 or 6 of us, and now we've got sort of 87, 90 guys. Wow. And girls that work part-time, full-time, but really on trying to create excellent things.
So your role then within the company, I mean, you're down as CEO. What's a typical day? I mean, I imagine you have a lot of this. You have a lot of meetings. You're going to be catching up with people. It's quite a diverse group of people as well that you manage. And of course, they're global, which was from the earliest days. You met people from all over the world. So like, what's your kind of typical day? Is it, can you structure it into a 9 to 5, or is it too dynamic?
I think when you end up working in your hobby, and things are never sort of 9 to 5. So it's any time that I'm available or awake, so to speak, from the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep. I sort of always have my phone, Discord, but to sort of give a bit of structure and a sort of flavor on how things work. So I'm very keen, and I've always had a view in life that you should let people work on things that they're really passionate about. So if we've grown, we're larger, there are processes and procedures in place. But if we have an artist that likes to come on board and they like to make buildings, we'll put them in the scenery team, for example. But if they like to come and make technical building, work from schematic diagrams and technical based modeling, we'll put them in sort of the vehicles team. So aircraft. So that's always been a key ethos of mine, that everybody should work in what they like. And we've sort of structured it in sort of a scenery team who focus on creating beautiful environments and buildings. An aircraft team, and within that aircraft team we have a myriad of aircraft we create, which is obviously the Microsoft products, the big planes, the airliners, those who like big airliners, and back in our early days we had and we can talk about this later and how we create products, but we have some pilots who actually are rated on airliners, who work in that team on a part-time basis, but give a considerable amount of their time to iniBuilds to create our products to be as realistic as they are. And then we have a small planes team, and sort of I think now a classical aviation team. So we like to split people up on what they're interested in. So Roger, who came on board with the A300, he was key to work on the tri-style. We're making something else in sort of that sort of family of jets. Those who like small planes and G aviation, Mike used to work for, our head of production used to work for RVO Aviation, for example. And, one of the planes we made was a Cessna 406, which he flew in his earlier career. So we like to create things and assign people on projects or aircraft that they have a personal affinity to. And I find that, people are just more excited to build things. Like if you had someone who likes Cessnas and they work on a 350, it doesn't work. And we don't find that's the right dynamic. So it may look like we're some big organization from the outset, but within the team, and we have different subsets of specialties that we like to prioritize and build upon. Now, what my day looks like, I like to check in with all of these teams. I like sitting down and discussing feature sets, like what sort of airports will we do, what sort of shops will we feature within those airports, what POIs, what would the landscape look like, ground textures, supporting the team leads on the different projects. So my sort of week and day is essentially run, supporting the projects that we develop, but then bringing them to marketing, engaging with the community, and sort of piecing the whole thing together. Of course, it's not a solo effort. We have a great management team that aid in that effort, but there's a lot of cogs, spinning to get products out on a basis that we do.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible, and like to give us that kind of overview whereby it's multiple teams all working within and you're all aiming for the same goal. Your job is very much kind of steer the ship. But I imagine it must be a challenge, right? I mean, because even in our own live chat here, I mean, we have people who are just so excited to see and get more information, be it on the A220 or the A380. There was folks mentioning the business jet. Like, how do you kind of steer projects into, right, everyone on the team, and like you say, you might bring in people who are passionate about a project and you can kind of deploy them. What's it like trying to manage that though? Because I'm sure you have your favorites. I'm sure your own team have their favorites. And then of course you have to work on other products that you do, of course, you mentioned with Microsoft. So where do you kind of get the time to work on what it is you want to work on?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. I feel like I'm a clown spinning plates sometimes, and some of the team are like, which plate are we spinning? But there is only so much you can do in a day and a month, and we only have a certain amount of time to do things. But we like to prioritize, and I think we like to go through sort of phases and passes. So sometimes the A350 will go through a few weeks of attention, and we'll report those bugs, and we know that certain things will come back to. We like to regularly update our airports. So I think it's a balance act of creating new content and new products, but also supporting the existing content library we have. And sometimes things take a bit longer than others, right? Sometimes, for example, on the 350, lots of customers, lots of happy people, but some people want a couple of extra features that are coming on the A380, and we've got them in the back burner ready to deploy at the same time. On our airports, we've got the like the 2024 conversions. That was a big 1 year program since 2024 launch to update them into a premium or compatible or enhanced edition. Mm-hmm. So, I think people have their feedback and they report things. I think we like to make sure everything's on our radar, and if something's not being done quickly enough, people like to tell us that in their own way. And we'll prioritize. Like, for example, a personal thing, the A300 is one of our first products. I really like it. I think it's a flagship for what we are known for. And some guys weren't happy a few weeks ago in like the Flight Sim Reddit Discord. And I saw some of that feedback and I was like, guys, I think, we're focusing on the A380 and A220. We need to spend a week this week to really focus on this because people aren't happy. And what is the point of making things if people aren't happy? So we went in there, we found a few things we could improve. Didn't think they were a priority, but obviously became a priority in the week. And we wrapped it up and we pushed, 2 builds out, which is 09 and 10 that is available now. So a question that, a lot of people ask is, how do you take feedback? And I think that links in very nicely with what we're talking about, because we take feedback and we have a community team, but there is only so much we can absorb. And sometimes that critical feedback / borderline frustration is important for us to gauge sometimes so we can ensure that we are prioritizing things correctly.
Mm-hmm. It's great to hear because it's the response from the community. I mean, you guys, you're listening with both ears, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And the challenge you must have, which is the challenge of your own success, really. I mean, you'll come out with an aircraft or a scenery, it's deployed, People love it, and then you move on to the next project, and it's always the next project, right? I mean, that's what the hype is, and no doubt as the team develops, even your own skill set develops as the weeks and months and years go on. It can be challenging to look back and say, what about this aircraft? I mean, everyone was so excited about this. We released it. It was great. That was a year ago, and now we're working on other things. So that balance, it's just very refreshing. We were only having a chat about this, would you believe, last night. We're saying, it's always on the next aircraft. And I think what iniBuilds are doing, exactly what you just said. You're listening out to the community to say, hey, we need to go back here because there's issues. People like our stuff. We need to go back and fix that. So it's a very healthy thing to hear from developers who do that, because it means then the investment works both ways, right? I mean, your customer, they want to invest into the experience, and well, you invest your time to make sure that's provided for them. So I think it's quite a good balance, and it's very refreshing to hear. Before people turn blue in the chat, they've loads of questions for the A220 and the A380. Now everything's tied up. I'm not looking for any favors, but have you any news? If we start with the A380, I mean, we've seen the trailers. It's looking absolutely incredible. As you've mentioned, you've other things going on in the background. How goes development on the iniBuilds A380?
No, thank you for that summary. I think that, that puts it perfectly. Of course, 380, 220, everyone's very excited about them. So 380 is in full swing of development. So right now, so one different approach, so to speak, that we have is with the 340, we did an iterative sort of development. So do we release, the initial version and the VIP? With the 350, it was, this is what we have on day one. And then throughout the year, we updated with key feature sets alongside bugs. With the A380, it's a different approach. It's trying to address some of that feedback we received previously, and it's trying to deliver everything in day one. So what you sort of receive in day one and buy will probably be 95% of the feature set of the plane. So there isn't really much more we're going to add from release, unless, of course, there are more specific nuanced bugs or quality of life things or improvements. But in key features, they're all going to be there. And we're currently, in intense testing. I think we're on build 13 or 14 right now that we're issuing. We're sending builds twice a week to our working group, which are a collection of, simmers who are very experienced to test all of our planes. They're not aircraft rated, and then a collection of pilots who are aircraft rated. And very, very thankfully and luckily, we've got a great set of 7 to 8 sort of pilots, captains, first officers, engineers on the 380 that are type rated from different operators that are giving us, a wide breadth of feedback that is being actioned. But the A380 is not coming first. The A220 will come first, and then the A380. So A380 and A220 are currently in tandem of testing and passes, so to speak. It's two different teams. On the A380, we're fully responsible for development, whereas on the A220, it's sort of 45-50%. So we're able to manage both projects at the same time, from our perspective.
That's awesome. And again, you have the strength of having the foundation with the different teams looking after different components of the aircraft, which is pretty awesome. So we would expect, all going well, to see the A220 prior to that A380 release. So I think that's hopefully calms the lads down a bit so they know where it's at. One thing I will say, though, and you've mentioned this before, we watched some of the content that iniBuilds have pushed out when it comes to the research that goes into your projects. I mean, it's literally getting people on the ground in front of, be it the airport or the scenery location, or indeed the aircraft. And it's not just the feedback we say from operators or pilots. What's that like, trying to kind of orchestrate? I mean, throughout the team, do you have lads banging on the door, pick me, I want to go there and check this out? Or is it very much a balancing act again? You're going to send someone out to an aircraft that they're the sound guy, they're the graphics guy. How does that work? I mean, what's accessibility like when you guys have a project to do? How easy is it, or is it very difficult?
I think different projects have different challenges, right? And I think some people like iniBuilds releasing a finished product. Like, I think the way that we view development is not a this is it, we're going to redo this and everything stops, right? It's essentially a service throughout. You're buying a product, and for a reasonable period of time, we're going to service that product with features and updates and bug fixing and whatnot. So it's not a sort of a hard stop that we view it. And I think because we view things in that way, when doing active development, bug fixing for previous products, and then future development, it is spinning loads of those plates. So right now we're doing Chicago, and we announced Chicago at FS Expo, and we're developing, wrapping up. But at the same time, we've got 2 other airports in final production, and we've got maybe 1 in full research planning stage that the team are going out to in a week or 2.
Wow.
So the same team are like, and I think it's sort of like a production line. Like some guys are now finishing off an airport, whereas the guys who are starting off, it takes a lot of time to go through and make all those buildings. They need some of that data very soon. So we have to sort of maybe actively develop 4 airports in tandem, and they're all at different stages. And that's just the airports. And then the aircraft have their same challenge, albeit it's a much longer development period. In terms of do people jump up and down for a research or a reference trip? One of our guys, Tom, he had to go in the flight to Qatar on an A380 there and back in economy at 1 a.m. in the night on the weekend. I would be super pumped and excited to do that, but maybe if you want some sleep, maybe you wouldn't after a long week. Sometimes it's going to airports in the middle of nowhere, right? We did Nairobi. We have another, it's not been reported before. We're doing another African hub. It's not the most accessible place to go, especially if you're living in sort of Western Europe, and for the first time in that region. So I think each destination have their pros and I would say challenges, but it's an amazing experience. And that insight that we have when we go to some of those research trips is, it can't be matched. Like an airport and an aircraft that we've gone and done a site visit on versus one that we have to rely on SMEs as the only source. It's a night and day experience. So I think that a question that you haven't asked, but I think is important to address is, well, how do we dictate what projects we do? I think that as we move forward into our journey in flight sim, really dictate that decision making. How much access and real data can we get beyond just the pilots and the testers?
No, and it's a fascinating insight because, I'm sure you get requests all the time. Hey, can you guys do this? Hey, can you guys do that? And it's got to be slotted in somewhere. And I'm sure, opportunity might arise if you're going out to a certain location on a different project. You can, hey, we can do this as well. And it kind of leads me into just I suppose a strategy, right? Because, a lot of folks, and I'm included, like we'll see an announcement, coming soon. How soon is soon, right? How does it work then to manage kind of expectations? Because I'm sure you're of the opinion that if you set a release date too far away and there's an issue, but then you become the bad guy if it doesn't deliver. And the last thing you want to do is deliver something that just wasn't ready, right? So how does that balance come into it? Because for you to know roughly when something's going to come out, your excitement must be huge as well. And all you want to do is tell people, but of course you can't. So how do you manage that?
I think it's the perspective of, we were once, or myself speak like as CEO, and ultimately, some of these decisions lie upon me. I was a simmer, so I know, or I can gauge, so to speak, what my personal opinion is, but I know if I was, sometimes there are certain developers that announce things and, do an update, 6 updates a year, and then it comes, it releases 3 years later. If I'm a customer who also likes these products, I don't like that style or approach. I'd rather not know about it and hear about it and then see it 3, 4, 6 months, 8 months later. Sometimes we have to announce things early purely because, it's super cool and exciting. Like we did the A350 renders and we've got the TriStar renders for the new variant that we're doing. And sometimes it's like, well, guys, we want to share this information. I think it's really cool. Sometimes people want to know like what's next for an aircraft or an airport. I think, again, each project, has its benefits and challenges. And we, when we reveal and announce things, in general is sort of, as we are, confident 60, 70% development is done or advanced, we would announce it because we don't like to keep people in the dark for so long. But inevitably, sometimes delays happen, and sometimes we may have announced something and it's been a while. But everything has its purpose. They're not random thoughts at 2 a.m. sometimes of let's just announce this or post this.
Yeah.
And hopefully that gives everyone a bit of flavor on how we decide that.
Yeah, no, of course. And like it's funny as well because with some of the trailer videos we see, and you've done this a couple of times over the years, you might just, slightly off the shot of the camera, have something in plain sight, but it's hidden, right? And I think we've seen this before even with the A380 some time ago. But of course, one of the most newest trailers that we've seen was hinting towards a new aircraft, not announced. And that's kind of is it kind of planting the seed to say, well, yeah, we're working on it, but we're not working on it. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah, it's like I want to share the news, but I don't want the pressure of what is it and when is it coming out. But I wish to share it and take that as what you will. And I think, and I think it's also for the teams, right? As I said, the different teams work with different things. And if you've just got 340, 350, 350 update, 380, well, there's a team who's working on something really cool for the first time in this case, and they haven't announced that to the world yet. And announcing that and seeing that reception and feedback, especially for the thing that we allude to, which is the Global 6000 jet. It is a business jet. We are doing the business jet. More information that will come later. It's not public. We've announced it here, but I think everyone kind of knows about it anyway. But for that team who are working on it, who are doing a really solid job on the avionics and the model, it was such a confidence booster. And it's like, oh my God, like I've been working on this for a year now, and seeing that reception and feedback is really good. So, yeah, I think we will continue to do that. I think that's become our new thing now after doing it a couple of times.
Love it. And it's funny, right? Because with the new projects, if I were to look at, we say the A350, the A340, go back even say in the last 3-4 months, the aircraft are still getting attention. Specifically, they're getting WASM attention, which is great to see, because it's always a bugbear for some folks if they're having WASM issues, and it's just the way the sim is built. If a module fails, that's it. There's no way to kickstart it again. When you're seeing the updates coming from Microsoft, as in the sim update beta, I mean, is that something then that it's all high alert with iniBuilds to say, right, lads, we need to watch this exactly to see what changes are coming down the line? Again, I'm sure you're able to lean into having that foundation. You have teams of people who are able to see, well, these are the changes, this is how it impacts on the aircraft. But I have to say, with WASM particularly, we have seen a lot of updates, which is great to see for so many reasons. What's it like, with that? I mean, developing your aircraft that, you want them to work everywhere, be it on console or on the PC. When you come against technical issues, and they don't necessarily have to be from Microsoft Flight Sim, it doesn't have to be the platform. It could be, maybe it's data, maybe it's pilot feedback or scheduling. That's all part as well of the whole release cycle, right? I mean, if you're aiming for a date and then something happens, well, dates get changed then, so what's that like? I mean, with the WASM stuff in particular, you must have a team who just do nothing else, only focus on that.
Yeah, so WASM is a great topic, right? It wouldn't be wise to pretend that it's been an easy ride for us. I think a lot of developers, though, there are thousands of users on 350, which was the first product that we really experienced this on. Mind you, the 310, the 320 Neo, the 330, all of those products were WASM and Microsoft, but the rate in which we saw them, were sort of 2 versus maybe the 100 or so we were sort of received in that initial release phase. And I think the 350 was one of the most complex aircraft we've ever made, or even was one of the most complex aircraft available to the market, not in terms of arguably systems fidelity or whatnot. Everyone can have their own opinion on that. We have our opinions too, but in terms of the way it communicated with GSX, the EFB, what you could do, the features, they're talking to an external database for hit this, that, or whatever. And the way the communication structure worked, obviously, had issues with some people, didn't have issues with some. And we've learned on how it works. Sometimes there is support from the, Azobo and the forums and how we can optimize certain things. Sometimes there's the exceptions that we can't trace and we can't track down. And sometimes a user will report something, but we can't reproduce that case. So it is a problem, and I think we've navigated through that journey in different ways. So the first thing is we created the big autosave feature. So in the unlikely event you do have a WASM crash, you can load up an autosave and it'll put you exactly where you are, where your flight is. Yes, you'll have to deal with the loading time of your sim, but once you've done that, you're pretty much back to where you started. Secondly, with our new products and what you'll see in the updates for the existing, but on the new A380, is we restructure the way WASM works and the way that WASM talks and the way WASM behaves to really reduce some of those minor edge case exceptions that some people are really prone to, and on the flip side, some people don't have, to make that process a bit more efficient. And as a third sort of basis, we have sort of our community team, which would be the dedicated team, to go and track down these reports. So if somebody does still have a WASM crash today, which the reports are much more reduced now, they can send that feedback through with an autosave log, which is available to them. Our team will try and reproduce that. If we can't reproduce that, sometimes clearing the WASM folder solves the issue. Sometimes reinstalling the scenery solves the issue. Sometimes an update to the NVIDIA driver sorts the issue. Sometimes a change in the Windows setting in your security settings. It is like, it comes to a point where it's sort of unknown territory for us, that we are doing the most that we can with a complex simulator, try and work on PC, Xbox, and ultimately PS5 at some point. So can I say categorically WASM crashes will never happen? No. Are we doing our best to make sure it's completely reduced and people are having the best experience possible? Yes. Does it only affect us? No, it affects all developers, and everyone will have their own experience with different developers and how WASM works. But without WASM, to talk about it positively, we wouldn't be able to get these products to the users on Xbox and PS5. And I don't think we should be excluding those demographics. I think we should make it an inclusive environment. So
it's
pros
great.
and cons.
It was actually my next question. Obviously, with the release of Microsoft Flight Sim on PlayStation, which is phenomenal news. So many, countless thousands of new people now get to experience the sim in which we operate. That surely has to be of a good interest to iniBuilds as well, when they say, okay, look, we can now access, if you like, this market, because we know people like our products. So in the scheme of priorities, is that on the roadmap fairly soon? I mean, you guys are working hard to get the aircraft across onto console, specifically the PlayStation. How does that all work?
Yeah, so essentially we have sort of like within the SDK, there are certain limits and parameters in which we can work. And I think once we submit a build, and we submit dedicated console builds with the intention for it to work the best way it can on console. We submit that on like a Thursday, that will become available on a Tuesday, and we have our community team has Xboxes with a gamer tag that's sort of an internal pre-release, or developers who sell on the marketplace have this access where they can test their product before it goes to the public. Mm-hmm. And we do our best to test the airport in different cases, big airports, small airports, and on both Xbox systems, so Xbox X and Xbox S. And we try to make sure that the product that we're launching has the best experience on both. We'll check things like Xbox keybinds, and if you're using an Xbox gamepad, and how do certain textures look, right? Because sometimes big textures are great for the PC but can't handle on Xbox, so we have to reduce and optimize them. Mm-hmm. So we go through from the systems, usability, art, to ensure that those folks on console try to have the best experience. Will it match or be on par with the PC? We try to as much as we can, but sometimes those things aren't possible. But that sort of gives you maybe an insight on how we test, and ultimately if that passes if it doesn't pass, we have to submit a new build. But if it does pass, we'll obviously sign that off for release and it become available to customers.
Okay, sweet. Okay, we're moving on. Thank you very much indeed for answering me questions. And again, we've a lot of folks in the chat. It's where we're at in release. In relation to the A220, the official stance is it's coming summer 2026. Ubeit has told us that it's actually scheduled to come before the A380. But moving on to the other projects that you have, the not the A, do you hear me? The L1011, the TriStar, that got a fresh announcement recently whereby there's going to be an expansion pack brought out for that aircraft, which is very exciting because I know the work that went into the TriStar, such a unique aircraft, and from the commercial perspective, passenger variant, but now you're going something a little bit different, be it with the cargo and also the refueling option. What was the inspiration behind that, or was that always kind of part of the plan? I mean, when you looked at the TriStar and just the scope of roles that the aircraft has, was that like an easy decision?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think a lot of people on forums and things, they talk about like the L10 100, 200. So our sort of reasoning for the 500 to talk about that variant selection is it allows for long haul, wide body ops. I think a lot of the modern operators were using that, and I think that was the one that we had the most data on, right? So we obviously found the model sitting in Saudi. And we did a research trip for an exterior reference of one of the only, standard planes living there. And then we had a contact in LA who had recreated a cockpit. I think they bought a cockpit shell from the desert, and that got us a lot of the cockpit references and the decals. And we sort of sat back and said, we want to focus on the L1011 500. Let's see how that goes. And it wasn't, 350 or 340, but it wasn't expecting it. It's sort of a niche classical aviation experience. and those who board it and regularly fly on a weekly basis, and that's what we want to see. And that team, we sort of had a decision: do we make something that is a bit longer or shorter, behaves in a slightly different way, and has a different avionics set, or do we do something a bit different? And one of my favorite projects that we've ever done was the A310 MRTT, which was the multi-role transport tanker that had, you could extend the balls to go refuel something. You could play around with the panel in the cabin. You could load some freighter. You could fly passengers. You could recreate with your own imagination what you wanted to do. And I think with MSFS 2024 and all the potential career mode compatibility we could have there, I don't see a better plane serving the purpose of the sim that we have now, and it will be able to serve those different functions for people. And I think it's different. It goes back to our roots of what we've done, and hopefully people enjoy an airliner, but in which you can do a bit more than flying from A to B. And that's sort of our reasoning for doing so.
Okay, brilliant. With the changes of the platform itself, I mean, a typical question would be, Ubaid, where do you see yourself and iniBuilds in the next 5-10 years or whatever? And that no one can answer that, right? Obviously, we'd be busier and bigger, and there'll be even more aircraft, right? So rather than asking you that question, when you see the way the world is going, and I'm talking about enhancements in hardware, but then you have the challenge of, the lack of availability, and of course you have AI. And then when you see the changes that came from Flight Sim 2020 into 2024, is there anything in particular that you are most looking forward to over the next 5 or 6 years that you think might become a thing in this hobby, as flight simmers? Is it going to be on the tech side? Maybe it's going to be on maybe the platform, or it's going to be where you can utilize your flight sim and hobby. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think it's an excellent question. I just want to sort of make it clear before I say what I say. I don't have any special news or contacts or whatnot. We are very thankful to Microsoft for our relationship. And one of the points I wanted to make is, they do really listen to feedback. Sometimes it may not get through to, the core users, and, the same sort of experience we have. Like sometimes, there is a priority. There's only so many hours in a day and we can only fix certain things, but they are really, especially Jorg, I have great respect for him in terms of he actively reads forums and community feedback, and he knows like what people want, and that really gives me hope. We saw from 2020 to 2024, there were so many features that I personally said, like for example, the ability to have more complex airports. I think the airports team is something that I really like to spend time on, to create really complex structures that are performant, right? And you can have all the interiors. Why should we have an airport with no interior detail? For me in 2020, that's something that we had to sort of start doing, because you couldn't create these big structures. And in 2024, they introduced the sim prop container LOD system. It allowed you to have really big airports with complex interiors in a performant way. The same thing applies to the aircraft. You can now have more complicated cabins that you couldn't previously have before. So I think it gives me hope that the platform will obviously evolve. They're committed to sim updates, committed to updating features that allows us to do better and cooler things in the products we get to make. And ultimately, that's what excites us. We can create, obviously, update our existing products, but create new things that serve a different purpose. And if you just look back and see where we were maybe in X-Plane 11, 12, and then the launch of 2020 to 2024, flight sim has transformed in the past 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes me excited about the next 6 or 7 years, that who knows where we'll end up.
Sweet. Ubaid, what might be the best avenue for the community to, for questions or feedback? Because I mean, you have a massive community behind you. I mean, it's your aircraft and sceneries, they're very, very popular. People love them, and of course, there's a lot of anticipation on future projects and updates and all this sort of jazz. So, what's the best kind of line of communication that you would recommend to anyone in the community to say, look, if you've got a question, lads, this is where you need to put it. We will see it.
That's a great question. So we always have our Discord. In our Discord, we have a dedicated team. So our community team that's led by Stephen, Rich, Jameer, and some Josh, some of our other guys, whose role and responsibility is to read through the Discord, read through the forums, and capture bugs and feedback. And that's, if it's a bug, it gets logged on Airtable. If it's a general community feedback, it gets sort of posted in a channel that we review on a Monday, to see what should be the priorities and focus of the week, right? Especially when we've had a release maybe the week before, or there's an update, or if there are updates to the real world, right? Sometimes Luton, we updated Luton. There is a new taxiway things like that. Those are the types of feedbacks that we discuss and try to action. We always have a sort of direct support line as well, that if you are a SME who works at an airport or an aircraft, or you want to have a personal chat with me, for example, you can email us on that support system and we can engage directly. So I think there's this sort of three main ways: Discord for more general feedback, a forum post or something a bit more technical, and our direct support system if you want to talk about something a bit more complicated.
Sweet. And of course, we have the events. I mean, you make yourselves present at FS Weekend and of course at FS Expo. This year in particular, the FS Weekend, I mean, you had a massive presence there. Of course, the TriStar was there for folks to give a look at. The tent added on to the exhibit hall as well. And, you know, you were there at Flight Sim Expo supporting the Synaptic guys. How important are these events, not only to yourself, but as for the company as well?
No, so these events are great to obviously engage with you guys who are at home. We can, we've had very passionate conversations with certain people about certain topics, but it's very refreshing. I go to FS Weekend and so many guys came up to us and said, we work in Dutch aviation. We're from the VATSIM, Dutch group, where we work at the airport. We're a simmer. Can you please make Amsterdam? Can you please make Amsterdam? Like, the incumbent offering is great, but we want something a bit better. And that sort of feedback, online, you think, well, there's already a great version there. Why would we look at that? And that really gets you thinking. Engaging with young people, right? I think that's great to show them to all these different complicated planes, letting them try it out. I think even those people who are maybe a bit apprehensive, like, I don't really like airliners, I'm more of a GA person, will I like them? That opportunity for them to try our products is great. But also from a personal, a bit more selfish perspective, it's to see our team coming together. We work on a remote basis. So I'm based in Dubai. Maybe there's four or five of us here. Then we've got, guys all over Europe and North America and South America. And at FS Weekend, if you guys saw the iniBuilds team, we flew 25, 30 people out to meet in Leostad. And we like to do one of these once a year, where we try and fly people out, our team, and we have team bonding, have dinners, catch-ups, and I think for some of them who've never worked in flight sim or were not flight simmers, passionate about aviation, love what they do, have different skill sets elsewhere to what they've applied now to flight sim, can actually see people enjoy, experience what is the community, how does it really work, and it gives them a much broader understanding of the field they work in, which I think is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. And it works both ways. I mean, you get the feedback as well, and of course, people, if they have questions, that's where you can put them at ease, I suppose. And yeah, like, look at the excitement. I mean, if we were to ask anyone right now live, okay, lads, if you had one thing to ask iniBuilds, be it, is it a scenery project or is it an aircraft? Just type in the title now. I guarantee you, okay, we'll get a lot of one type, I'm sure, but like, everyone is going to want something a little bit different, right? I mean, they're going to want more general aviation aircraft. They might want French sceneries, perhaps in a very busy city, right? Or indeed, they might want the airliner. They might even like the military side, which of course you did with the awesome T-33, and even those vintage aircraft. We'd love to see them coming through into 2024 as well. And of course, I'd have to say, Kerry, it's a lovely place down in Ireland. We'd love to see an updated Kerry. Time has to be your biggest challenge of all, right? I mean, it's just all these ideas, not just what you have on a personal basis, not just what your entire team have, not what kind of the industry trends are, but then you have the community in on top of that saying, hey, we would really like this. How do you even filter through it? It's purely a time-based thing, right?
Exactly. Like, there's only so many things we can make, but I think all things are sort of absorbed, discussed, engaged, discussed. Like, for example, I'm a very open person, if you know me, right? I wanted to make like a 737 Classic program, right? We had a contact that was willing to take us on a cockpit visit, a full tour of the 737 300, 400, cargo ops, full access, full detail. And obviously we have the CSS available at my team. The team were like, should we really focus on this, or maybe one of the planes that we're going to do and announce later this year? So I think it's not a sort of a dictatorship, sort of what I feel or what I view. We have a team, a dev team, a community team that we discuss and we challenge each other and say, what do we, as a group, as a consensus, feel what's right, and that sort of derives our agenda for 6 months or a year to come. But in the same way, we're quite agile. So if another developer comes in with a rendition that is really super solid, we may have already started work on it, but we won't continue making that because I don't think that's helpful to the community. Why do we need 2 excellent renditions within the same year of the same airport or same plane, for example, right? Yes, it costs us money, but that time should be spent on making something new that everybody collectively will enjoy. And that's my view, of course. Like, I don't think finance will be very happy with that sometimes. Like, if we spend, X amount of money on something that doesn't come to fruition this year, but maybe the incumbent or competitive offering that appears won't be up to par, and the free market is available, and people can pick which version they like, and maybe we'll release our version next year that's a bit better or bit worse. People can have their own judgment, but hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does.
I don't think there's no perfect answer, so to speak.
No, it's a great insight, and I got to say, right, it's. People talk about the flight sim community and the passion, the absolute passion. People are. I've never ever in all my life have I met such a more passionate bunch of people, and be it at our own level in our own community or even the wider flight sim community. It's an amazing space to be in, right? And a simple question I had to our live chat to say, what would you like to see from iniBuilds? The whole chat went nuts. And that has to be a very strong takeaway for the success that you've you've made, right, with iniBuilds, because people like the company, people trust in the company, they want you guys to bring certain add-ons. They want your version of it. And it's interesting to mention Boeing, because I was going to ask you, it's like, come here, what's the story with Airbus? Is it always going to be Airbus, or might we see a Boeing? So it's interesting to know that, no, you think of these things as well, and the same with scenery as well. So it's great to see, Ubaid, because it's a lot of the time it's in the world we're in, right? That rarely gets translated across to the community to say, well, look, you have developers who actually care. They're just as passionate. They're flight simmers. We all love aviation. So to know that we're dealing with like-minded people, it's comforting, but it gives you confidence then on future products. And then knowing, of course, well, look, there's structures. If things need to get better, well, that's how we look at it. If there's a problem, that's how we address it. And if we're looking to the future, yeah, we're looking at the future. So it's all well-rounded. So yeah, it's go on.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to add something. I think, I remember very clearly, we were chatting in Vegas, right? I think there was another friend of yours or from another team, and we were talking about the perception of iniBuilds sometimes. And I think when we first started, it was 5 or 10 of us, and it was a very insulated approach. Like, we're just going to focus on making these things, and out they go. And I think we didn't realize the merit of our own success, that we have now become this position that, we need to communicate more. We might be thinking the right thing, but people might not know that we're thinking that thing. And I think, and you are the reason. I'm not just saying because I'm on your channel. You are the reason why we took an external view on how are we actually being perceived, and is it the right way? Because we know we're thinking the right things, but do people think the same way? And is that coming across, or are we just this, have this attitude that we don't really care what people think? We'll just create what we want to create. We'll post on forums, and we'll make our money and we'll move on. When it's really not like that. It is very personable. And I'm not just saying this, for views. Like, this is I'm a flight simmer. I want to create good things. And if I have people who are unhappy, that doesn't let me sleep at night. So it very much is a collaborative view, albeit however that criticism comes across from the community. Sometimes they are very passionate. Sometimes it's a bit more measured, right? And there are lots of, excellent people in the community that come with measured opinions that have messaged me like, Ubaid, this isn't quite right and we need to fix this. But you never really, like, if you like something on the street, you never, I'm guilty of this. I don't think I will go on a website to give a positive review. I'll only really go to something if it's a negative review.
Yeah.
And I think seeing all these people with saying, make this, make that, is just a silent word to say, we really love your stuff and we want your version of it. And I think I've really absorbed that personally this year, and how we view things and how we go forward and what we make. And I think we will do things that maybe a developer has made an aircraft before, but we'll make one that competes with that, or an airport similarly. And I think that's really been a perspective change. And I've got you to thank you for 2-3 years ago.
Not at all. It's people just get passionate about the flight sim. I mean, it's the things they like, the things they don't like, but no communication solves nothing. It doesn't get us anywhere. You know what I mean? It's once there's communication there, and hats off to you, because you've opened the doors to have communication. And like my only advice to people is, try and be nice about things. We're human at the end of the day, right? So maybe folks take that on board. But I suppose I don't want to keep you all night, right? Because I know it's considerably later where you are. But if we can try and just a quick summary of the ongoing project. So we know that the A220, in which you guys are working with Synaptech, to have that released summer 2026. There's no key date. Are we talking like how long is summer? Like when does summer end? Is it Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, right? So
so we have a date in mind. In the near future, we're working on very hard to make sure that the initial build is as solid as it can be. Will there be bugs? Yes, it is a very complex jet. It's a very sophisticated feature set that is coming. The Synaptech guys are working really hard across many years, really to get to this point. But we have to draw a line somewhere and talk about what will be post-release things, and we're kind of engaging that at the moment. But we're not talking several months. It is very much summer 26, and we hope that people can enjoy some the later summer vacations. If I don't know where summer is for everyone if they've already taken it, but you'll be able to enjoy it very soon, and that's all I can really say.
Sweet. And then the A380 expect will follow that. That of course also gets, as you said, similar pacing through their testing, but the A380 then will be scheduled then afterwards. There was something I saw not too long ago. It was to do with these double jetways. We saw it there. Is that, without telling us all the secrets now, but is that something that you'll say, yeah, it'll work with a specific project, or is it something now that you're thinking in your head, we need to make this accessible to a lot of places? So are you kind of looking back on previous released scenery add-ons perhaps that you might be including it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I think the multi-jetway is a free feature, right? And for those who don't know about it, it's the ability without GSX. I think what's funny, because we announced ours on Monday and then GSX announced at the same time, and I think people got confused that it was the same thing. It's not. It's a free feature we're launching with our airports, where basically connects you more than one jetway to your aircraft. Primarily for the A380, but it will work with the 350, the 777, and that's the aim. We're working on, so the actual core functionality is now working, and we're working through the UI. So within the Microsoft EFB, you'll have a little drop down, and you can select at each gate that you are in, and if it's an iniBuilds airport that has the compatibility. So we're hoping to launch Chicago. That is knowledge. It's going to come this month, and Chicago I think maybe has a couple of gates with dual jetways. I think it's a really poor example to have the first airport, because I think there's maybe 3 or 4 gates that have dual jetways. It doesn't have even have an A380 gate. But anyway, Hong Kong, Dubai, JFK, Heathrow, Doha, LA, like between now and September, those are like some of the 4 or 5 key airports that we will have updates for, that will have these jetway compatibility. And hopefully, I hope that definitely before the end of the year, all of our airports will be compatible with the multi-jetway system, which will be a free update to users, and essentially be able to connect more than one jetway, alongside the different scenery releases and updates that we have. Sweet.
Any word on Bristol? You're aware that there's an event on in Bristol. Has that piqued the interest? Are you going to try and get out to it, or would there be someone there? What are your thoughts on that?
No, so I have got no sort of formal position to make at the moment. I think we're speaking to the organisers. We'd love, it's amazing to have a UK show. We're definitely very keen. I'm speaking to Keith, the organiser, to see what we can do. But don't be surprised if in a few weeks you hear an announcement that we'll be there. And hopefully we'll bring a solid team contingent, giving it a really nice middle point for those of us in Europe and America.
Sweet.
So very exciting.
Brilliant. And of course, then, just to wrap it up as well, just something that you told me at FS Weekend and at Expo, it's you guys yearly have massive sales, and you can almost set your watch by them now, because you can kind of think, yeah, I'll wait because we know that the iniBuild sale is going to be roughly in this period, right? How are those campaigns going? I mean, we've this has probably been the biggest one we've ever seen this year.
Yeah, I think there are. It goes back to like a non sort of BS view, excuse my language, is we want as many people to enjoy things as we can. So we release things, and they won't be on sale for maybe 6 months, 9 months, in some cases a year, but we like to get things into promotion often and quickly, and it's effective and it works for us. So we like to have sort of seasonal events when you kind of can tell when things happen. So we'll have something at Christmas time, we'll have something at summertime, and then between those two periods, you might pick sort of March, nice Easter time, or Halloween. Just depends on the year and what we do. But we do like to make them sort of effective deals that people really can if you feel better in the summer and have a bit more disposable cash for flight sim, you've got some time there. Or if not, winter's a second opportunity. But at least to allow users to know when they can pick up some good deals. And I think that's something that we really enjoy. It works for us, and hopefully people enjoy them too. And from the sales that we get in that week, I think people do. And a point to add, it doesn't sort of really affect our launch. I think on launch we have a comfortable number that we're happy with of people buying certain things. So I think as much as we can afford it's something that we'd like to continue, because I think it benefits everybody.
No, sweet. Well, listen, Ubaid, I won't keep you, but thank you very, very much indeed for taking the time out of your schedule, which I can only imagine is hectic. Just thanks for doing all the great stuff that you're doing. You're giving us great experiences here when it comes to be it the classic, the Warbirds, GA, and of course the airliners. Massive excitement from the whole community looking forward to the A380, the 220, and of course a Global 6000 starting to peak around the corner as well. So very exciting things with yourself and also the company. And we're in for a lot of new products and features. And then we've scenery as well with Cord coming up as well. It's been an absolute pleasure for the chat, and just thanks a million.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I know we didn't answer everyone's questions, but as we said, you can always reach out to us and we'll respond. And thank you for all your feedback, Murph. Personally, professionally, what you do on your streams on a weekly basis, it's really a great asset to the community. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks a million. Right, I bid you good night, and we'll chat to you soon.
Good night, everyone. See you.
Take care. Would you believe the technology actually worked? I didn't break anything. Brilliant. Right, lads, I hope... there's within reason, there's certain questions we can ask. Ubaid is only going to tell us so much with release dates. If he says, yeah, it's coming out on this date, and it doesn't, you know what I mean? But the whole interview, this will be all on YouTube if you missed something or you want to go back and have a look at it. We did chat about the A220. It's coming soon. They said summer. The A380 will follow that. They've confirmed, of course, a Global 6000, which is going to be terribly exciting. We know Chicago O'Hare is on the way.
Nighty, snoozy, snooze.
Thanks, Dave. Or D White. We know that the Cord is on the way with these double jetways. It's going to be it's part of your utility that you can make appear, which is very interesting. And I think just the general insight into what iniBuilds are, listening and seeing what the crack is and looking at the feedback and then going back to their products, when it comes to, the A300 and the TriStar, and it's very exciting. And we know, of course, they're very anxious to get their stuff on PlayStation. They're working actively towards it. Wasm, of course, being the biggest head scratcher. They're working on that all the time. And the fact that they mentioned Boeing. I mean, naturally, when you say iniBuilds, you'd be thinking, okay, airliners, okay, Airbus, or maybe Lockheed, which, but no, Boeing is definitely in the train of thought as well. Who knows what will come down the line, lads? But I will say, I love the setup, because Ubaid has built that foundation. Multiple teams working within the organization. Okay, you're the scenery guys. You're the classic airliner guys. Grand. You're the old general aviation type guys. You're the brand new airliner guys. It's fascinating to think that they have teams of people. Then they have the experts, be it the pilots or the operators, and then they mix in with the simmers as well. And then on top of all of that, there's communication channels. Us as the community, we can feed back to them. We can talk to them if we have a question, if we have an issue. You know what I mean? And again, something else Ubaid said, and I'm probably guilty as this. We're all guilty of this. How often do you leave a good review anywhere? How was your shopping? Go away, spam. Usually, if something's bad, Karen mode is activated and we go mad. So it's, maybe there's scope there. You might drop an email to them or a message and say, listen, lads, love what you're doing, and can we help as a community? Can we help out? Maybe there's projects, or maybe there's events you can do, or whatever. You know what I mean? So don't forget teasing. Oh yeah, the teasing was savage as well. Oh god, yeah, loads of teasing. But no, absolutely very, very grateful to know Ubaid and the team. I've got to meet the team a couple of times. There's an amazing team of lads there with iniBuilds. dead sound. So yeah, looking forward to seeing them again and we see what the crack is. But it was a great interview and loads of fun. So we need to move on because we have 2 aircraft. By the way, I'm on the ground here at Luton. Oh no, my computer's froze. We're on the ground here at Luton. Do you know what's after happening? Shit. They're not to be doing these things. I am. Jesus. Ooh. Right now. Oh, that's wrong completely, Murph. iniBuilds just did something absolutely bananas. Did you see it? Hang on. We'll be able to do this again. That is absolutely insane. Hang on a second. Oh, Jesus. I'm after breaking it. 100 things have literally just flashed up on my screen.
Hello there.
My alerts are back working now. Holy crap! iniBuilds, Jesus, they've just gifted 100 tier 1 subs. Am I right? Am I counting that right? I think 100. Did you see what they did? Jesus. Oh. Lads, if you got a tier 1 sub, an awful lot of you did. If you got a tier 1 sub with thanks to iniBuilds, do be sure to say thank you. That is insane support. 100 subs. My computer didn't know what was happening. It's like, danger, Murphy, danger. Jesus. iniBuilds, thank you very, very much indeed. That's insane support. And what makes it all better, it's shared with the community. So, brilliant. What were we saying about technology? Ollie had one job. With one job. That's absolutely mad. Crazy stuff. Thank you very, very much indeed, iniBuilds. Just amazing stuff.
A refund?
No, there's no refund. Sorry, no. Shut off. Me button or me finger slipped. What happened there? You know. But that's just insane. Absolutely insane. Thanks a million. Did I fix this now with me alerts? I don't think I did. But sure, listen. You know, we'll be all right. I'll fix it here somewhere in the background. I'm on the ground here, and the reason why we're here, right, because this is Luton, and I just got an update, and you know, it's a relatively small update, but it's compatible now with 2024, right? So where is this now? If I were to go into this, yeah, oh, there it is there now. Yeah, it froze everything. That's fantastic. Jesus, I can press that. But they did a lot more than that because it was 100 of them. So I don't want that thing going off for like 100 more times. But you know what I mean? Absolutely incredible. And yeah, massive thanks to iniBuilds. Unbelievable. To all the folks who have followed, lads, you're very welcome aboard. Thanks a million. As I said, that interview, we'll post it up on YouTube afterwards. Well, it'll be live there now. It'll live there forever. It'll be there. But what I want to do, I want to have a quick look around here. This, of course, is the F406 and the Caravan 2. Beautiful aircraft. We've flown this plenty of times on the stream. Beautiful turboprop. But we're on the ground here at Luton. And Luton is... well, it's an interesting one. I've flown in and out of here a few times, and what we have now with the latest update, they've added the taxiway, they've done something with the taxi bridge, and things are just working better now in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, right? Yeah, Mr. GPHI, right? Yeah, but I don't know if did you guys fly in and out of Luton much? The last time I was there in the real world, it was a building site, and it took all day to get through it, but she's working fine here now in 2024, which is great to see. Get ourselves in and just check out some of the changes. We're only talking about this the other night, you know, you're saying it's always the next project, but when you see developers go back on their existing products and say, oh, all right, that needs an update or a patch, or it needs a this or it needs a that, pretty cool indeed, you know. So, just amazing stuff. My mind is blown. Incredible stuff from iniBuilds there. So what we're going to do, we've 2 things to check out tonight now. We're going to be having a look first at the Hoplite, right? This is a helicopter. And we've already seen this helicopter release in 2020, right? And we now have a 2024 beta. You can grab it as a 2024, right? And I'll go through the changelog here now in a moment. Anyone who likes flying helicopters, this should be on your radar because this is savage, right? It's absolutely savage. Let me see. We'll go down the road here. We'll go to Dublin because I just want to show you the machine. and I'm picking somewhere that I'm very familiar with because this is not the easiest chopper to fly, but that's not a bad thing. It's just a challenge, right? It's an absolute challenge. So the aircraft, you can, as I said, you can pick it up at Just Flight. They're publishing the aircraft, and we have a special offer price right now. Now, if you've already bought the aircraft for 2020, you need not worry. Everything that you're going to see, well, you're going to get it as part of the bundle that you've already paid for. So there's no additional money required. However, if you haven't bought it yet, you need to be made aware of some things because it's in beta. Treat it as kind of like early access beta where they're working on features, and as the project matures, more features are being added. The price is going to ramble up a little bit higher from kind of where we are now to where it'll be once the project is ready to rock. And we're talking not much. You're literally talking kind of 3 updates. We'll have the official first update, which will give us, the pilot avatar, the passengers load mode. We'll have a proper walk-around mode native to 2024. That'll be all the remove before flight, pitot covers and whatnot. Fuel tank presets will be included, and also EFB. And we'll have some kind of default basic functions. The second update will include ground maintenance. Right? We'll also get a technical page in the tablet, better customization inside in the cockpit between imperial and metric instruments, radio station options, panel colors, and so on. And the EFB will now have some expanded presets available. And then the final update. The final update, modifications, the type and amount will be chosen according to the user feedback. So they're listening to say what you want in this aircraft, right? Cockpit and external modifications will be customized, advanced ground maintenance, batteries, refueling, tanks, fuel level, and so on. And then the EFB will be completely filled out. So they do have a roadmap. It's over on the Just Flight website if you want to check it out there. And where the pricing kind of moves on from that, as I said, it'll the longer you wait and the more features they put in, well, then the price goes up a little bit. Right now, over on the Just Flight website, it's priced at €37.78. €37.78, right? It's a very interesting helicopter, and I have to say, from the developer, it's the job they've done here. I'll get up and close. It's the only way you're going to appreciate this. When you look at the attention to detail and the modeling on this thing, lads, it is superb. Texture work, the modeling, all the reflections, the detailing on this machine, it is absolutely staggering, right? Look at it, like it is savage to see this level of detail. The poor old heli, I mean, she won't win any looks in the local pageant. It's a mad looking devil. But the thing has character. It really does have character. Operated, of course, Czech, Germans, Polish, Ukraine. It's operated all over the world. MI, of course, the Mi-2, the Hind company, Not going anywhere in a hurry. Utility aircraft. But as I said, it comes in a number of different liveries. There's always a challenge with this as well. Some of the liveries you can get that it's Russian, right? So it's a Soviet era aircraft, and then other ones have English panels on it as well, right? Kind of like a Soviet Huey. It wouldn't be a million miles from it. It's the Soviet design helicopters back in the day. It was basically, we want a flying tractor, pretty much, or a flying bus, right? In Soviet Russia, plane flies you. But that's what we have here. And the model is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Now, inside in the cockpit, this is where things get a little bit head scratching because, well, there's not quite too many aircraft that behave like this, be it from the systems level or indeed the layout of where everything is, right? You get that beautiful kind of off-green color, that Soviet era, right? But there's stuff going on here now, lads, that right. But I'm going to start it up to give you now a listen of it. And again, what we're getting here, it's just that it's the 2024 feeling. They're able to kind of punch the graphics. They're able to get the LOD. It's able to run that little bit better. They're able to tweak some of the physics in the flight model. They're able to do more with 2024. It's just the way the platforms are. You can do more. That I should have been in marketing. You could do more with 24, but you can. Yeah, right. Anyway, we'll close the door because I'll fall out. And little details. Look at the 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 details. sounds. Right? And like some of the visuals in here, this is ridiculous, but like, look at this state of the three. Look at, like, whoever the artist was, you know, if he doesn't have a Nobel Prize for something, but like, isn't that unreal, isn't it? Isn't it unreal? It's class, right? Absolutely class looking. Right, now, to get power into this machine, we'll just, you know, we'll see what happens. If you have the aircraft, if you're using this in flights in 2024, be aware of the following. Because there's a new LOD, right, level of detail, if you use the zoom function on your mouse, you will lose the sound and you'll lose some of the objects. Now, that's only for using something like chase plane that goes beyond the normal kind of zoom levels. But if you have a chase plane, right, and you're zooming out like this, like some sort of a wide angle fish lens, just be aware of that. It's not the only aircraft that had this issue, right? And I'm sure the lads will tweak it after a while, but it's one of the challenges, I think, with sounds and LOD and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So just be aware of it. If it happens, just zoom back in a little bit, and you know, you might need to change around your position and so on. All right. So what we're going to do?
Sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
How are you, Muttley? What we're going to do? We're going to panic. We're going to go with the battery switch. Thankfully, everything's in English, but don't let that fool you. You'll still get lost. Have a listen to the sounds here and just the general state of this. So battery coming on, right? And now we need to go over here and start turning things on. And in modern aircraft, of course, one switch to rule them all. This thing, you lift up the entire bar. And what we have now, we've all this testing. See the light flickering? And even like, it's not just a simple color. The lights fade. Like, there's a fader on the light. It's ridiculous, right? So they're pretty much your CBs. Now, the blinking system, we can turn that one off. It's like the indicator is on, right? And we'll get our fire extinguisher system turned on here as well. We're on our battery. Gens will come on after aircraft startup. We do want hydraulics for this. Moving across, engine is in startup. Engine heating or engine warming we'll want, because we're going to warm them up, right? And then we have our pumps. We have fuel pumps here. Cabin lights can come on. Over on our left-hand side, we have some external lighting. So get our beacon, get our VHF and high-frequency radios turned on here as well. And that's looking good. So what I want to do now, we're going to... Oh, hang on. The most important switch in the entire aircraft. Lean forward close to the TV screens. You'll feel that now. You know, if it's 1,000 degrees where you are, just lean forward, you'll feel it. And you can move this, look. Cool your mate down. Cool yourself down. Call Neva, thank you for the bits. Right. Air conditioning, lads. But anyway, brilliant, isn't it? And the night lighting is also superb. So quick check on what we're doing. Rotor brake is fully forward. Throttle. This is a throttle. I think it goes fully left, right? And we'll go for now start up here. We'll start engine 2 first. So we'll put on our fuel pump. And we can see pump 2 is operating. We'll go right side. I'm going to engage the starter. Are we ready? Okay, we're at 20%. Let's open that fuel valve. The sounds, lads. Okay, so we're going to get the generator on the right hand side, take pressure off that battery, and then we're going to go for the left side. Engine pump 1, it transfers, left engine, and we'll engage the starter. See the RPM coming up, 20%. And fuel in. What do you think of the sounds? Aren't they very good? Alright, continue on with our electrical. We're going to go left generator on. And let's just double check. Annunciator lights are off. Fire is okay. I forgot my converters. They're now on. Windshield heater, not worried about that. Engine is now running. Start switch off. Number 1 fuel pump should disengage. That should be. I don't know, do I need that for flying? We'll find out now in a minute, I'd say. Right, beacon is already on. Hoist motors, we're not using any of that stuff. Searchlight, lighting is on. Now let's just double check our throttle. So have a listen to the RPM. Isn't that gorgeous sound? There's our lights. I think... Do we need these on? We do. Turn them all on, Murphy. Be grand. Alright. Right, let's try and fly this. I say fly! Ah, come on out of that. Right. Bit of eye tracking here. You can do a plane. Do. There we go. Right, we fixed it. Okay. She's very different than the Dauphin. Landing lights. Right, she's very different than the Dauphin. But let's see how we get on, right? Bit of collective. Let's lean her forward. We'll ground taxi and just get out of the way of those buildings. Check the thing outside, look. It's like the supervillain helicopter or something. Isn't it class looking? Isn't it only class looking? Now you'll notice, yeah, we're missing the avatar pilot. That'll be added later. Alright, let's see what happens. Collective. Yupsie daisy. And the trims really do work nice. It's all manual, but you'll actually hear the trim. Hear that sound? That's me hitting the trim. Alright, roll to the left here a bit. Uncage that, you muppet. And the other one. There we go. See? Checklists. Just have the developer in your chat. You don't need a checklist. Now check it out, man. Look at the power and the speed of this thing. It's a capable machine. Watch the collective. And this thing does handle like no other chopper. Like it handles very differently. Isn't it mad, isn't it? Alright, let's see, can we mess with some night lighting here now? Now, we have a big floodlight on, so we'll see can we turn that off now in a second. Easy now, Chuck. Is it behind me head, I wonder? Easy. Floodlight is on the left. Floodlight is on the left. Above your head to the left. Above me head to the left. Is it up here? Let's not all panic together. Easy now. A little bit more trim. I haven't a clue. Little bit more trim. We can trim this out perfectly. Just give us a second now, we'll do it. Is it the lighting switch? Now we're threshing. Look at the state of this. Isn't that something, isn't it? I don't know, is it Klingon or Romulan or something, but isn't it absolutely fantastic? Exterior lights. Easy now. Easy now. So, when I tried this, when I tried the 2020 variant, you know, they were saying, oh, it's not really compatible. To be honest, it was. Like, I didn't really notice any issues, right? But I can say, with this beta for 2024, this is miles better. It's miles better. Its performance is just better, right? And the physics are dialed in that little bit more. The simulation is just better now, being on 2024, you know. Yeah, we're keeping our speed up like mad lads. Let's see, can we gently put it down for a landing? There'll be a sheep farmer here now in Ireland going, what in the name? Easy now. As I said, she flies so very different than other choppers you might have, you know. Might bleed off the speed. We're still climbing, but there's a temporary issue. Easy now. We're landing there to our left somewhere. Alright, we're looking good. Easy. It's just an interesting chopper, and like the range of roles that it has, be it with law enforcement, medivac, civilian stuff now, military of course. Right, we're looking for a little bit of a hump here in the field. Around here will do nicely. Easy. Oh Jesus, right, you saw nothing. I didn't think the field was going to be this high. It's totally grand. We're just like going straight down a hill. Get the out brakes on now, Murph. Yes. And a gentle stop. Sorted. Yeah, well done, Murphy. You've put it right in the middle of your man's field. You go mad, right? Isn't it mad looking? It's great to see it in 2024. And as I said, the roadmap that these guys are working on, Digital Aeronautics are working on, it's friggin' cool to see. This is a very unique helicopter. It's a very unique add-on. Where you see this level of fidelity, be it from the modelling, the systems, the flight model, everything on this is just different. So if you're into your rotary wing aircraft, it's not easy. This is a much harder helicopter to fly. You don't have any of that kind of, you know, stability augmentation. You've none of that stuff here. This thing is hand flown. However, the trims work very well. You can trim this thing out pretty well, and it's quite good, you know. I have something for your eyes only when you're done being a gobshite on the telly. Thanks, Marigin. What an absolute ledge. So that is the Hoplite. It's just a beautiful helicopter, lads. Alive and well, and now in beta for Flight Sim 2024. We will be doing more flights with this aircraft. If anyone's interested in learning more about the aircraft, we'll be planning this for a flight soon. But it's not for the faint-hearted. If you want a challenge, if you want to learn something different, this is the machine to do it with. All right. So we're nearly there. We're going to check out one other aircraft, and I want to just catch up here with our SayIntentions stuff as well. So we're going to load in with the Saab. The MFI-17 is from MSK Simulations or Productions? MSK anyway. So we have Pakistan Air Force, Norwegian, Turkey's in there, Royal Danish, Oman is in there. You get a couple of different liveries with this. Hey, old veteran, good to see you. Looking forward to your flights. Dude, we'll have to get you on for a chat. It's such an interesting project. Very interesting project. Right, now, let me see. Where am I in the world? We'll go back to Casement for the crack. And we're going to load in here now with this machine, right? It's an interesting airplane, this one. Now, here's the thing. This is, before we even get into it, this is, and I mean this with the greatest respect to the developer, but this is effectively a skin. And what I mean by that is, well, it's not just a skin. It's, hello. It's a skin so far as, underneath the hood, this is very much a Cessna 172. Now, that's similar to it in the real world. I mean, there's a Continental 360 under the hood. They've tweaked the flight model a little bit, and based on my testing that I've done, it toes the line pretty well so far as your, you know, maximum vertical speed, overall altitude, turn rate, speeds generally line up, right? Plus or minus, you know, 5 knots for the speed and maybe 500 feet for the altitude. So it's not bad, right? However, the aircraft as an add-on, it looks very, very good. You need to watch the price. It's $12.99. It's cheap as chips. And you need to figure out why so little. It's a G1000 standard, no custom avionics. We get a couple of switches down here with the mags and lights and whatnot, right? Canopy open and close, that's animated, but there's no difference to the audio when you open and close it. Speaking of the audio, this is the default Asobo 172 audio set. All of it. There's nothing custom in this. There's no custom sounds, right? Circuit breakers are not a thing either. So just to manage your expectations, I'm not saying this is crap. By far, it's far from crap because the modeling is done really, really well. Both what you see and then the physical. There's one or two kind of weird bits. Now, that gap is correct because that's a bit of a frame on the window. It's not actually on the fuselage. I don't know if it's going to be that pronounced, right? Any pictures I've seen, this black seal, that's rubber. That's actually sitting on the wing. As opposed to, you know, roughly going around it. But it's not a big to-do. It's not like there's a gap there. I mean, you still have your canopy bubble. You're not exposed to the elements. So, you know, just be aware of it, right? What else then? Deliveries are nice. Inside is quite nice, right? You can go check your fuels. You can go left or right, right? So you have left, right, or off, right? That works. Mags, it's a single mag switch. One on the left, one on the right. You have a starter switch, your internal lighting, exterior lighting, and then you have your battery, your avionics, and all the jazz, right? But it is a G1000. Now, you might say, listen, it's a G1000, yes, but that's where something like this pops in. Very, very handy, of course, from Moza, right? Now, there's two things. One, I could break this, and two, this aircraft isn't actually being detected from Moza, but I just want to show you this here while we're here, right? As in, you can't interact with it. You can pop out the screen, but I think either Moza or the aircraft is going to need a patch to get the rest of these Garmin units working, right? But I just want to show you this because it's pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. So we'll load up all this jazz here now. There, yeah, there's a G1000, lovely hurdling, right? And this is the configuration, left or right, depending which one you want. These are all the buttons and so on, all right? And now we'll get glass out to do its job. So discover, we've the working title MFD, so let's get the battery on, because I want me PFD here. So battery, alt, avionics. We'll give this a start here as well so you can hear it. Position, beacon, fuel pump. These are the sounds. They're default 172 sounds, so just be aware of that. Nothing terribly wrong with them, mind you, right? I mean, they're not bad. Right, here is our PFD. So I'm going to open that. Come back to me. I'm going to open that. I'm going to whoosh you across. Now, you only have to do this once for aircraft. You'll be able to horse it across. That's interesting. So the resolution has changed 4 times. Stupid thing. Let's try that again, Murphy. Glass out, you're wrecking me head. It's changing the resolution. What is that currently stretching to fill? Yeah, keep the aspect ratio. There we go. So once you kind of do this once, that's it, you're set up forevermore, right? So, as I said, whatever with this aircraft, the buttons won't respond. Most are aware of it.
60% of the
but there you go, lads, look.
Works every time.
Like, there it is. It's as easy as that. You pop out your G1000 and you're good to go, look. It's like, this is deadly. This is a deadly bit of kit. And for the price as well, lads, it's absolutely ridiculous. That camera's not great to show it. Hang on, come over here, look. Just briefly, where is this now? Ah, Jesus. Why isn't that camera working? Many buttons were pressed. Hang on.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you find, is the Moza G1000 compatible with most aircraft? Not yet. Not yet. And it's something I was talking to Moza about. Some of them, yes, the default Asoba ones. It works with the cows as well, but they're going to add more to it. But anyway, look at the state of this thing. And we have a little dimmer switch on the back here, so you can literally get this in line with what you see inside the sim, right? Or you can brighten it up. So, I'll go through this properly next week. I just wanted to show you though, because I was always saying, Jesus, I love steam gauges, which I do. I absolutely love steam gauges. But when you look at a G1000 that you can actually interact with, peel off the plastic, hands only because you asked me. Are you ready? We're doing this together. Look. Right, there's Jesus. The plastic has been peeled off now. That's it. I can't send it back. The camera isn't picking it up too great because it looks heavily pixelated. You can't see those pixels with your own eyes. That's just the camera doing weird camera stuff, right? But again, if you look at the buttons, right? The sounds of the buttons, all the various click spots. See this range one here? It's actually like a little D-pad. All these buttons here. Like, they're just class. Absolutely class. But it doesn't work with this particular aircraft. So I don't know if Moza need to update the software to work. I don't know. But I'm sure they will. Because everyone's going to want this. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's 470 quid. And if you do a search now for a G1000 for Flight Simulator, you'll pay anything up to 1,200 quid. This is cheaper. Far cheaper. And the build quality, it's Moza for great. Like, there isn't build quality because it's just Moza. They're very good, right? And do you know what the gas thing is, lads? That's a USB. That's not HDMI, right? That's USB. Watch this. I'm there now. Look. I'll put a photograph on it. Like, you can literally use it as a screen. Look, right? you can literally use this as a screen. You can watch your Netflix on it. You can watch Murphy on it. You can do whatever it is you like. It's screen. It's a TV screen, you know, on a USB. Terribly fancy. But anyway, I wanted to show you that just there briefly, right? Yeah, oh, definitely. The frying pan, Jesus. You'll be seeing the frying pan now if you arrived home with one of them, right? But they're available on the MOSA website. If you're a general aviation pilot, if you have that sort of disposable money, as I said, it's cheap, right? It's not a touchscreen. It mimics exactly what the G1000 is. So much so, you know, MOSA mentioned Garmin, right? It's a one-to-one replica of this. The only thing that's missing are the SD slots. Everything else is there. And do you know what else it has? It has light sensors, light intensity sensors, just 2 of them. Meaning that the brightness of the buttons will adjust depending on your ambient lighting. And then you have buttons on the back to bring the screen up or down. But there's actually sensors on the panel that can see that it's like, the future is bright, you know, the future is bright. But anyway, before we come on with this machine, briefly, lads, SayIntentions. Just last week's newsletter. Now, there's loads of stuff going on with SayIntentions. Loads of stuff, right? We were flying with it during the week, having loads of fun from the ATC side of the house. It's not just about the ATC, though. And I always say this, right? I always say this. Can you make your dinner on it? You can. Last week's note, they had a look at G-Lock Media. Don't know if you guys have ever looked at G-Lock Media. He's on YouTube. The guy is an absolute gentleman. He has an incredible setup. And I'd say now that he's looking at this MOSA gear, he's probably vomited into his cap many times. Because I know the stuff that he has, they're about $1,000 each. He could have got 2 of them. He could have got 2 of the MOSAs for the price of one of those. Ouch. But anyway, G-Lock, I love his content, it's a great insight into having like a home cockpit setup. Do be sure to check it out. But some of the work that SayIntentions have been doing over the last couple of weeks, smoother arrivals, cleaner approaches, and we've heard that. We were getting speed restrictions with Ryan. Do you remember? They slowed him, then they slowed me. And even though that's multiplayer, SayIntentions isn't fully there yet when it comes to controlling multiplayer inside that kind of AI environment. They'll tell you straight up, yeah, we're not there yet. But you're still getting better kind of sequencing, better vectoring, even as yourself as a pilot, which is pretty cool, right? They've also worked up on Pocket Sky, so it's gas, right? I have a smartwatch. A smartwatch for the dumbass, right? I have a smartwatch, and any notifications I get from Pocket Sky, it comes up on my watch. It is the most handiest thing ever. So if ATC are talking to me, if there's a change, whatever, look at me, oh, grand, that's where I'm going. Now that's like nerd euphoria. Euphoria? Nerd right. But anyway, traffic also got a little bit better as well because general aviation work, pattern work in particular. I was watching Jeff Favignano last night, and it was the funniest thing ever. So Jeff is trying to blast off in an A320 with Aruba, you know, and a GA aircraft. Yeah, so Jeff is now waiting to go. The GA aircraft was given clearance to go ahead of him. It back taxied up all the runway. Jeff's sitting there burning Jet A. He took off, and Jeff was like, right, where next? And then another GA aircraft, experimental something or other, he came on the blower, and ATC gave him clearance before Jeff. He was livid, but then it was all grand then after. But it's good to see, because depending on what's going on in that AI world, who knows? Those GA aircraft could have been on we have to depart by this time, we won't make our landing. Or clear the GA out of the way and then just filter the jets. He also saw a KLM come in, an A330. Like, it's getting really good. It's getting really good. Not without bugs. Bugs are going to be expected. Brian himself said, look, it'll never be 100%, but that's not going to stop us from trying to get it there. And that's why they need feedback. They need people to talk to them, say, hey, this is the issue I had, or can you look at this? SayIntentions are actively asking folks to give them that feedback. It's important to them because they want to make the thing better. That's their goal, right? They have this new way to rate your experience, right? Support experience survey. So How would you rate the support? They're trying to make sure that the systems and tools that they're using to get feedback are doing what they need to do. It's important to them. So if you have a few minutes and you can do a survey with them, that's available right now. And then on the newsletter, which you can sign up for this very same newsletter, just ramble onto their website, sign up. They've started this new function, new feature or function where you get to meet the team. And this is why I rant and rave about this. Yes, they're utilizing artificial intelligence. It's AI, of course it is. But these are the people driving it. You can put a face, these are people, we've met them, we spoke to them. And now we're getting a little bit of background information of the team members. This is absolutely incredible. You get to learn about the people who are actually doing the coding in the background and the work. I think this is awesome. I think it's a great insight. People hear the word AI now, we're all just like, oh no, run away, it's not safe. These guys, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You know what I mean? But anyway, do be sure you check it out. That new Meet the Team series, that's going to keep going, right? It's a great way to just get to know the folks. Chris, for example, long before any sort of AI stuff, Chris was working as an EMS dispatch worker, emergency services. He was the dude you rang and he'd dispatch someone to you. Chris, of course, works on a lot of the features behind SkyOps. It makes sense now. That was his job. He was on the other end of the phone. He had to work with dispatching people during an emergency, be it ambulance, fire brigade, cops, didn't matter. That's what he does, right? Or that's what he did. And he brings that expertise in to SayIntentions and specifically when it comes to SkyOps. He also does stuff there as well when it comes to the Virtual Airline Alliance. And that's Chris, right? And there's many more on the team. It's pretty cool. It's great to get that sort of background, do you know? Low Tech, good to see you. The download link for the rescue tool preview is not working. Thanks, Low Tech. We shall let Roy know the crack. Yes, Nerdvana. Thank you, Airlock. Nerdvana. Right, where am I now? I'm over here, look. The buttons. So, this machine. Where's this other button? This machine. The Saab, right? She was built in the 70s. It's listed over on Sim Market. As I said, it's $12.99. But just bearing in mind, it's a little bit like now it's a skin for a Cessna with a couple of tweaks. But hence the whatchamacallit, the price tag, right? But they can get away with it, and the reason why they can get away with it because it's a very similar aircraft to a Cessna 172, right? There was 462 of these built. It's a two-blade Hartzell prop. It's a Lycoming IO 360 engine, right? I said Continental. It's not. It's Lycoming, right? The very same gadget you'd see in a lot of 172s. Her maximum speed is 127 knots. It'll cruise at about 112. Very similar to a 172. Stall speed 58 knots. Endurance is about 5 hours. Range. What's her range? It's 190 litres or 50 gallons. Where's her range, the second thing? That's interesting. I don't have the range. Rate of climb 807 feet a minute. Service ceiling 13,500 feet. Well, do the math. If the endurance is 5 hours and 10 minutes at an average cruise speed of 100, it's probably about 470 to 500 nautical miles, wouldn't it be? Roughly, do you know? But anyway, this is the machine. Let's go flying with it. So we do have one little click spot here, which is a control lock. Well, it doesn't do anything, right? Doesn't do anything. Peter, hey, come on. Fuel pump off. Panel lights, dome lights. The lighting's okay in this as well. Right, let me see. Why isn't that button working? Chase plane, you're wrecking me head here now. I know there's an update for chase plane, but like still. Why is that now button 4? That's worrying. Interesting. Anyway, right. 800 kilometers or 432 nautical miles. Come on, Super Tie. Alright. Not to flaps. It's a nice looking machine though. This is the Norwegian livery we've gone with, lads. Isn't it a nice looking machine? And as I said, that T-tail is there. That was to stop dirt and grit and all that jazz. There was an update and then a hotfix for the update right away. They said it's broken, so make sure you update. Well, I didn't actually grab the update. I'm still on the original one, so yeah, we'll see what happens there. But thanks for that, Mr. TBHI. Momoko, good to see you. Welcome in. Greetings from the Philippines. Hello from Tipperary. You're very welcome aboard. You're so... yeah, I'm out of date, yeah. The wing position has all the visibility disadvantages of a high-low wing combined. The canopy is good, but yeah, that's a blocker. But like overall, this bubble canopy is very good. But it could be more to the fact that, yeah, you need to be wearing a hat. You know what I mean? It's good to see your hands. Look at the shape of the wing even, look. Isn't it mad looking?
Hello there.
She's mad looking, lads. Neptune, thank you for the follow. Murph, so good that you got the answer to the most question from a babe who's been asked in so long.
Hello there.
It's in the Bremen bar. We'll have a look. I love Snickers, welcome in. Right. And we do have we have a prop and mixture on this as well. Let's go flying. Yep, you did video. It's pretty much a Cessna. Alright, speed live. We're not on the center line, but that's okay. There's 40. We'll rotate at around 55. Oopsie daisy. Alright, flaps in. Neptune, yes indeed, you can watch back that interview. There's no set release date. They have one internally, but they're not long is kind of the answer. May not be the answer a lot of people are looking for. They probably wanted to know exactly when it's out. I don't make those decisions, lads. Do you know what I mean? We did ask the question though, but I thought it was a lovely interview. Oh wait, what were you doing that for? A220. Was it every time I mentioned the A220, Stu had to take a shot? Is that what the game was? Whenever A220 was mentioned, Stu Snape had to take a shot. Wasn't that what it does? Maybe not. I thought it was. Not you, the chat. Oh, you're absolutely bladdered. When anyone in the chat mentions A220. Good man, Stu. Big Al, that's the one, yes. What do you think of it, lads? Like, there's no features compelling me to say, yeah, you need to grab it. I think it's a very pretty looking airplane. If you didn't want to fly a Cessna, but kind of fly a Cessna, right? And the price does reflect that. I think we're at the stage now, though, like even with some of the aircraft that Microsoft release, yeah, it's a universal tablet, but like circuit breakers, it'd be nice to have those modeled maybe. Just then again, maybe you just don't use them. I don't know. It seems to be kind of like a standard thing we see in these aircraft now. You know what I mean? But I think they've done a great job with the modelling. Now, there's no walk around mode. You know, there's no remove before flight. There's no static elements or stuff like that. So it is quite basic from that regard. But I still think it's a pretty little airplane. It does look nice. And it's, as I said, this thing is going to fly it's going to fly like a 172. Pretty much. And okay, yes, she has a G1000. But like, if you're in that market for the Moza MGX 1000, suddenly now this becomes, well, this becomes very good. You know what I mean? That was low tech, I think, Roy. So that's kind of the stab of it, lads. It's just a nice general aviation aircraft. We'll check out our nighttime lighting, which are controlled not from there. Oh, hang on, you can open the canopy while you're flying. Right. Dome light. Nice oh, look at that. Lovely reflections on the canopy, isn't there? It's not too bad. But when I saw it released, like everything, I'm sure people were saying, oh, that could be really nice. It is really nice, but it's basic, very basic. But I'm happy that I bought it. I see me flying this, you know? It's capable of rapid conversion to open. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm thinking that just shouldn't be able to happen. I mean, fair play to them. It's the strongest metal alloy I've ever seen. But I don't care. I still like it. It's a nice general aviation aircraft. It's very basic, but the price reflects that. Can't really complain about it. And I think the modelling is really nice. I think they've done a great job modelling this. It does look very, very good. Do you know? Right, Jesus be speed. Get all the drag into the equation now. There's zero consequence. Like, there's no damage or restrictions or limits. Oh yeah, the canopy would be like straight, it'd be gone, straight gone. Alright, bleed off the speed there now. Easy now. We're in somewhat ground effect. Oh, you dibbler. And there we have it. You get what you pay for. Yeah. I mean, look, they could have charged 25. I think if this was 25, I'd have a bit of a jam me. Do you know what I mean? You're doing Irish Air Corps Ops around Dublin, the Islander? Yeah, class. DY class. You wouldn't get 2 points for that money, so perhaps not so bad. Yeah, good way to put it, Creo. Yeah. And put it this way, you will get more enjoyment than just 2 points. Well, it depends. Depends now what points they wear, of course, and where you wear. But no, like, it's an interesting looking aircraft. And I think the modelling is very, very nice. Do you know? There's nice modelling here, lads. Would I recommend it? For 12 or 13 bucks? With no real consequence? Yep. Yeah, I would. This isn't bad. This developer, by the way, it's mostly sceneries they've done in the current platform of Microsoft Flight Simulator. This developer used to make add-ons back in the land of FSX and P3D. They did an Alouette donkeys years ago. They did an Alouette that was supposed to be the light version of an Alouette. It wasn't anywhere studied. There was no startup procedure. It was a Control E machine, right? But it was fun. It was fun, right? But there we have it. There we have it. So lads, that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you so very much indeed for tuning in. Insane support tonight from iniBuilds with 100 gifted subs. Like, that's just bananas. I want to a very warm welcome to everyone who's joined in the channel tonight, who's followed the channel. The interview we did with Ubaid, it's on YouTube. It's you can watch it back. Massive thanks to Ubaid for taking the time out of his schedule just to come in and have an old chat with me. They're absolutely sound. A great bunch of lads. And thank you guys as well for the questions and also just for being here. Absolutely brilliant. We're back tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Zulu, and we're off to learn the HH65, the Dolphin. The Dolphin. There we go. The Dolphin variant of Teog's Hangar's SA365. So we're going to spend a bit of time getting to grips with the differences between both aircraft, and then we'll do a little bit of flying around. We're going to be using on air as well. We might have to go off and do a test flight to get that variant registered, and then we're going to be looking at our VATSIM flight for tomorrow night, in which we're taking a 737 out of Copenhagen, and we're going to be heading down to Innsbruck. Looking forward to that one. So that's all going to be happening tomorrow night. We'll see what way ATC goes. If it's like half an hour for slots or any of this jazz, I might do it with SayIntentions. We'll play it by ear tomorrow. We'll just see how we go. But lads, as always, thank you so very, very much indeed for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed tonight. Massive thanks, of course, to iniBuilds, also to Aerodynamics for the Hoplite, allowing me to showcase that aircraft in its current build. And you'll see more of that aircraft because it's friggin' cool. It's just mad. It's cool looking. Do you know what I mean? Right, I'm away now. I'm going to lie down. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Until then, you take care. Where you can enjoy complimentary deluxe continental breakfast daily with afternoon hors d'oeuvres and a fully stocked honor bar. Get up there. Complimentary hot and cold beverages throughout the day. Fairmount Gold combines personalised...
I'm sorry, did you just say hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres. Oh no, I made a terrible mistake. Do you know? Don't hit me with a frying pan. Oh, jeez. Did you just hear it? You just hit me with a frying pan!
That actually did make a noise!
Of course I made a noise! You hit me with a frying pan in my head!
Turn around!
Why would you hit me with a frying... Don't hit me again! Ah! I rarely use this word when it comes to flight sim add-ons. I reserve it only for the special kind. But like, there's no point saying anything other than, this is shite. It's shite. Like, oh, we've got a gun sight. This is a beta, so I'm not too worried. It looks great though, doesn't it? Listen to this. Over there. Oh, sweet something, ah, Jesus! Medic! Look at this big E, just Jesus. There's nothing to see. No, there's nothing to see at all. It's usually the best. It's the best way to do things. You know what I mean? Usually the best way to do things is no matter what sort of a day you're having, just come in and just have a bit of a slag with me. You know? Oh, me knee.